disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. Just, I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in every one of you. Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it no more.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
He's just killed a fucking man.
What are you going to do about it?
You're because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. You're because you got nothing. Lobito! Got nothing.
I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA Boxing.
Alright. Bullshit. Fuck. Alright. Welcome to BDA Boxing, the boxing debate arena. This is your host for today, King Bucho. Let me know if I sound okay in the chat. Let's give a couple of shout outs here. Alright, we have the Shepherd Sons, Unrivaled Boxing Talking News. We have Tommy Temper, Seamus Carey, Box, Jason Bourne, David Abraham. Who else do we have here? We have more people. Bay Area, the usual suspect, Michael Stock. Welcome to the show, guys. Alright, special show. I think this show is gonna be great because I think there's gonna be a lot of controversy here. And that's exactly what we want here at BDA. We want debates, we want action. Like I sometimes tell people, or I tell Mr. BDA, sometimes I want that type of Jerry Springer atmosphere. Not too chaotic, but just funny as hell. So we're going to be taking some phone calls, and the topic is, if Pacquiao beats Keith Thurman, where do we rank Manny Pacquiao in the all-time greats? Now, of course, we already know that Pacquiao is an all-time great, but taking into account that he's going to be 41 years of age this December, and he's fighting a young champion. I was going to say unified. He's no longer unified because of, the WBC stripped him of that belt, but whatever. He's one of the top welterweights right now. So if Manny Pacquiao manages to beat him, do we put Pacquiao in the top 5 fighters of all time? I don't know. Do we put him above Mayweather? Some people already have him above Mayweather. So we're going to be discussing this. Before we continue, let me just give a shout out to the Patreon subscribers. Apology Man, The Punisher, Pete Stamas, Brandon White, Chris Gonzalez, Mel, and Raymond He. That's an abbreviation. By the way, so about the Patreon. I know that we said that we were going to be posting a bunch of stuff on Patreon, but we just haven't had the time. I know Brandon White gave us some ideas of he told me he was going to give us some ideas of what he wanted on Patreon. But yes, that's the next plan. We're going to be posting exclusive content on Patreon. I talked to BDA, so that's going to be coming up later. Now, Raymond, He, and Mel you guys are elite Patreon subscribers, so you will get your introduction and the other perks that come with that. So yeah, we're gonna be working on that. What else? Oh yeah, the subscribers of the month for June were the subscribers, the super chatters of the month for June were G Boogie, the Quags, Gonzalo, aka Boxing Spectrum, and of course Apology Man. So you guys are the super chatters of the month. All right. So I sent the link to Stu. He will be joining me soon. Then we're gonna take some phone calls, and then I'm gonna invite more people. So don't message me like crazy that you want a link. Not yet. I don't. BDA got pissed off because he says that it was pretty chaotic last time around with the phone calls. There was a lot of people, a bunch of people. There's delays, and so he got pissed off about that. So we're gonna try and just keep a few people in the hangouts, so we can take the phone calls. So you guys can give us your opinion about Pacquiao and where he ranks in the all-time greats. And then once an hour after we open the phone lines, we will invite more people. All right. All right. So we have Stu on the line. Stu, what's up?
What's happening, Butch?
What's up? What's up? Um, I heard you're a grandfather now. So congratulations.
Nah, not yet.
Well,
She's pregnant.
yeah, but it's yeah, you know what that means.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Well, like I said, touch wood, everything goes all right, and
Yeah.
eventually I will be one. You know,
Well, yeah, that's
not
true.
sure what to think about it, but yeah. Well, what's the topic, Pacquiao?
Yeah. Well, the topic is if Pacquiao defeats Keith Thurman, where do we rank Manny Pacquiao? He's already an all-time great, but this is a big fight in my opinion. He's fighting a young champion. He's not fighting an Andre Berto. He's not fighting a kickboxer from Japan. He's not fighting Conor McGregor. He's fighting Keith Thurman.
Yeah. I don't think it makes a difference, to be honest with you. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
a Keith Thurman win is going to make much difference to Pacquiao's legacy. I think he's already sealed his legacy and his Hall of Fame status and one of the greats of all time. Let's be real. I mean, whether he's the best ever, I'm not sure about that. I'm a big Pacquiao fan, but I wouldn't say he's the TBE. But he's definitely an all-time great, and I just don't think a Keith Thurman win is going to make much difference to that. Let's just say that.
Okay, so now we look at Stu's point of view here. There's a bit of a delay. Sorry, like a echo. It's coming from your end.
Yeah, I'll come. I'll come off and come on again then.
All right. What else do we have here, people? Well, let's just wait a few minutes so we get more people on the stream, more viewers. Maybe we can go a bit through the news and then we can start discussing the main topic of the day. Jermal Charlo now says that he wants to fight Canelo. He says that Canelo must fight me, and he also goes on to say that if Charlo not what? Anyways, he went on to say that Canelo cannot retire if he doesn't fight him. So I don't know. Charlo is very vocal now that he knows that the Canelo fight is not gonna be happening anytime soon. That's just my opinion. I just wanna see what you guys think about that. Stu, do you feel like Charlo is being a little bit more vocal now that he knows that the Canelo fight is not gonna happen anytime soon?
Well, yeah, of course. It's a lot easier to get vocal when you know your ass whooping's not coming, sort of thing, isn't it? I mean, how vocal will he be if Canelo signs on the dot? That's the real question here. But yeah, I mean, I suppose Charlo has to go down another route. I mean, I think his image took a bit of a hit. Both of them did. The last fights, the Korobov card, should we say? I think they both took a hit. So yeah, I suppose it's get to the typical PBC way, isn't it? Really, just be loud and and brash and act like a piece of shit, and he should be fine, sort of thing. So yeah, I mean, not a big fan of Charlos, to be honest with you. But I do rate. I do half. Well, I don't know if I rate them highly, but they're decent fighters. They're not bums, that's for sure. So I think they're dangerous. I just don't think they're in the level of Canelo and Golovkin and them sort of guys. Even the Jacobs, I don't think they're that level. I think Billy Joe Saunders would beat them. So yeah.
Who should he fight next then? Take into account that he will not be fighting Canelo anytime soon because he's with the PBC, so that's an impediment in a way. He's not on the zone. Um, I
I
heard
mean,
this Chris.
for me, a fight with Chris Eubank Jr. would be great
Mm-hmm.
for him. I mean, both with Al Heyman, aren't they? I believe they've. I think Chris Eubank Jr. is with Al Heyman as well at the moment, so that fight can be made. I mean, I know it's not a great name to the Americans, but it's a good fight, worldwide fight sort of thing. The UK would get behind that, and it'd give them a bit of a platform in the UK as well. And that fight could probably be made in England.
Yeah.
Decent crowd here, and it'd be on pay per view as well because Eubank's a pay per view fighter over here. So Charlo could make a few quid and get a decent name on his resume because I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready to see him in there with Canelo yet because I don't think he deserves it. I think you've got to. You telling me Charlo deserves a shot at Canelo before Golovkin does again?
Yeah, that's a good point. Although some people will say that that Golovkin already had his shot. I disagree with that. I
Yeah,
think,
I
yeah,
agree.
I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, to be honest with you, I'd rather see Canelo in there with someone different. But the question was, does he deserve his shot more than Golovkin? And he doesn't. He's beat nobody at middleweight. And like I said, I'm trying to think of names I can. Who can he fight? And I don't know yet. What
mhm.
names do you suggest? I mean, Eubank
Well,
Jr. is the only one I can think of. Really, let's
I'm gonna
Billy
give
Joe
you
Saunders steps up.
I'm gonna give you an answer. But before I do that, Michael Stock, thank you for your contribution. And Michael Stock says Pacquiao beating Keith Thurman at 40 years of age. Damn right, that adds to his legacy. I agree, but we're gonna get into that. Let's just get this Charlo thing out of the way.
Yeah, but
Stu,
adds what to it though? I mean,
well,
are you
Stu,
going to? Are you saying that could change his career from say the fifth best fighter of all time to the fourth or the third? Because you know, a Thurman win's not going to
Stu,
do that.
we will
It's a
discuss.
good win. It
We
is. I
we
just
will
don't think it makes
discuss
his
this.
legacy any better. I don't think Pacquiao, unless Pacquiao comes back and beats someone like say Spence, and then goes up and does a number on say one of the 5-4 champions. One 5-4 champions, then maybe so. But I just don't see it. I think Pacquiao's legacy is sealed, and just leave it there.
Still, I'm gonna talk more about that later. You're gonna see why it does change his career in a way. It doesn't. Well, I'll get into it later. But let's just about the Charlotte thing here. Who you asked me who he should fight? You said Chris Eubank Jr. That makes sense. But now you know what some people have been saying. What if Charlo moves up to 168? Now the PBC has several fighters at 168. They have Benavides, Truax, Caleb Plant, Eubank Jr., like you said. So, but I don't know. What do you think about this? Charlo moving up to 168. I don't think it's fair.
Well, I just said he's not ready for the best middleweight. So what on earth would he want to go up to super middleweight for and get totally destroyed?
I
I
agree.
mean, Charlo's he's at a point of his career now where he has to get some confidence, and that confidence is going to come with a big win, with a name on his resume. You can't keep knocking chumps over, and then when you get stuck put in with the best, expect to put on the same sort of shows. You've got to be ready for these sort of elite level fighters, and Charlo's not ready for them, and it proved that. I mean, let's be real. Look at Korobov. I mean, the Korobov was just where did they pull him out of? Some fucking old Soviet Union museum or something. They just pulled him out of there, stuck him in there, and he basically beat Charlo in some people's eyes. So
I agree.
yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of names that are rolling off the tongue for me right now. It's very limited who he can go after because I just don't think he's ready for the big boys. So it's anyone. My pick would be Chris Eubank Jr., but it's anyone really below the top 5 below that.
All right. Let's see what else I have in the news over here. Chill Sonnen from the obviously the UFC, MMA. He's saying that boxing is not a sport. Lobov just came in and beat up Pole Malignaggi. So based
Oh,
on that, boxing is not a real sport, and Lobov just exposed boxing.
I mean, I just don't take Charles Sonnen too serious. I mean, Charles Sonnen's all right when he's talking about MMA, but when it comes to boxing, it's borderline retarded. So I wouldn't take too much into what Charles Sonnen says because he is a bit of a clown. So, I mean, are we really going to call Paulie Malignaggi the face of boxing? I know
Well,
boxing's in a bad way, but not that bad, surely.
people who people who don't know anything about boxing or very little, they think that Paulie is some sort of like legend in the sport of boxing. I think you know what I mean. Like he really wasn't, man, at all.
No,
So that's a problem.
I don't like to compare boxing and UFC fights because they're just two different sports, and like I said, it, it's never going to be fair. If they're both getting a cage, it's not fair. If they're both getting a boxing ring, it's not going to be fair. And there's no way of making it fair for both guys unless you take the takedowns away and stuff like that. You could probably make it a bit fairer, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Callum Smith
there's no point.
wants.
You know,
All right, I'm gonna move on now. Callum Smith says that he wants the Canelo fight, but he doubts that it's gonna happen because he believes that Canelo Golovkin 3 will take place in September. Callum Smith said that
yeah.
he would be willing to move up if he has a fight with Kovalev. If not, he would stay at 168, and he's gonna be fighting probably in September in Liverpool.
So basically, the fight with Golovkin's on then.
Well, according to him, but according to everybody else, it's not happening. So I have no idea what's going on.
Oh right, okay. I don't. I mean, you never know with Canelo Alvarez, do you? It could be anyone. But I actually like the Callum Smith fight better than I do the Golovkin fight. To be honest with you, it's only because I haven't seen that yet. I've seen Golovkin Canelo twice now, and I'm not sure if Golovkin is going to be any better next time around. I'm just not sure. I've seen him slow quite a bit, and I'm seeing Canelo get quicker and stronger. So not sure if that's a fight I'm too. I mean, don't get me wrong. If it gets made, I'm definitely watching it. But if I had a choice, it'd be the Callum Smith fight in Liverpool at Anfield, 60,000, 50,000, whatever. Canelo Alvarez in the UK. I'll have a bit of that.
Yeah. All right. Boxing Spectrum, Gonzalo, thank you for the contribution. He says, besides Canelo, Golovkin, and Jacobs, the middleweight division is kind of weak nowadays, in my opinion. Stu, do you think that the middleweight division is weak?
Well, yeah, because I was trying to think of some names for Charlo to fight, and I was struggling a little bit. You know, and that is a bit alarming. I think that 168 division looks like it could be really exciting. I think, you know, if Golovkin and Canelo can move up to that 168 division, then I think the 160 is completely finished. I mean, it's really weak. But yeah, I mean, because Billy Joe Saunders don't look like he can make 160 again in a rush. I don't think. You know, I just don't think he can make 160 anymore. So yeah, I think the 168 division looks like it could be the division starting to get stronger and stronger, and the middleweight division starting to get weaker. And yeah, I agree with Gonzalo. I mean, yeah.
Well, if
Jacobs is probably the man. Jacobs is probably the big fight for Charlo at middleweight. Really,
yeah,
it's just, you know, that's probably the big one for him.
if Canelo moves up, everybody else is gonna follow him because boxers follow the money, you know. So
Yeah,
all right,
yeah. I mean, yeah, there's Andrade as well, isn't there? But I don't rate him too highly. I mean, I've been saying this from day one. I just don't rate Boo Boo that much. I don't know. He's a knockout waiting to happen. Let's be real. I thought Selecki was very poor the other night as well, really poor. So yeah, I'd like to see Andrade in there with. And maybe that's a fight for Charlo as well. Yeah, maybe that's another. But you know, can that fight be made with
yeah,
the
exactly.
zone? I just don't think that fight can be made. Like I said, Charlo's options are quite slim at the moment. I think, and so yeah, 168 maybe he could go there, but I just don't fancy him in that division. I think he'd get knocked out, to be honest with you, quite quickly as well.
Hmm. All right, we have Recognize the Matrix on the line. What's up, Recognize?
What's going on, Stu?
It's certainly
What's happening?
What up? All right, Recognize. We are gonna be
Yeah.
discussing this topic, this question of if Manny Pacquiao beats Keith Thurman, where do we rank Manny Pacquiao? Obviously, Pacquiao is already at all-time great, but we want to know if this fight is gonna make a change, is gonna affect his legacy. So that's gonna be the main question here. Um,
Right.
there's a,
You
where are you?
asking
Are
me
you
for my
outside?
opinion on it?
Are you outside?
Well, yeah, kind of.
Okay,
I'm
okay,
in
because I kind of
Florida. Right.
hear.
I'm in Florida right now. Let me go and say.
Oh
Like you
yeah,
hear, yeah,
the
like I'm by the
transaction.
beach, so you can,
Yeah.
yeah, transaction exactly.
All right, now it's fine. I don't hear shit.
wait for that speedboat from Colombia to arrive. You
Yes,
reckon?
you got it, Stu. That's exactly what I'm waiting for, man.
A fucking submarine.
I
All
think, I
right.
think, I think I'm being set up.
All
You know how those Cubans feel about Puerto Ricans, so.
right. Before I open the phone lines and we get this discussion going, one last piece of news. Ruiz against Joshua, the rematch. The possible venues are now only two. One of them is MSG, so New York again, or the
Right.
Principality Stadium in Cardiff, Wales. I
Huh.
don't know. Eddie Hearn says that he doesn't want that rematch in New York. That's pretty much
Yeah,
what he said.
Eddie Hearn's coming across as a bit of like a scared bitch. You know, like
Yeah, I agree with that,
you
Stu.
know, like when you're young and you got these parents that don't want their sons to play rugby because it's a bit too tough and all that lot. You know, they'd rather them just play something else. I mean, that's what Eddie Hearn's coming across. Oh, I don't like America. It's a bit too, a bit too tough for us over there. Let's have it in Cardiff where I can pick the judges and where AJ can take his peds and everything's comfortable for us. I just don't like that. I find it gutless. And so I think if Anthony Joshua wants to get any sort of respect back, and I'm a Joshua fan, he has to go and put the wrong right at Madison Square Garden and seal the deal there. Because
Stu,
if he wins at Cardiff, in Cardiff, he will get no credit for it. I can guarantee it.
I bet if you were Eddie Hearn, you wouldn't be doing this fight in New York. I guarantee you. I can't believe this, man. Come
Eddie
on.
Hearn's ringing up Joshua every 2 hours. Oh, you sure not? You sure you don't want Cardiff, AJ? Yeah, I think it's the right place for us. You know,
Right. I think that
I've heard I've heard New York's cold in November. You know what I mean? All the excuses are coming up.
but it's cold. It's cold. I don't know what part of the
Yeah,
England he lives in. I don't
it
know if
will
it's
be. Yeah.
yeah. So that's not a good excuse. But I think that
No, I'm joking. But
look, man, I don't care where they fight. I think I'm with you, Stu. Like I'm with you. I think that if you want to like get better and redeem yourself, the guy beat you in New York. Fight him a rematch in New York, and get better and beat him.
yeah, because
Beat him in the second fight.
that's what heavyweight world champion means. It means you should be able to go anywhere in the world and get a win. You know,
That's
and
right. That's
that's
right.
why Lennox Lewis I rate the guy so highly, because if you look at, he fought all over the world. You know,
Yeah.
and he fought some big fights in America as well. And I just don't like the thought of being a home track bully. It's a bit of the cricket saying, you're a bit of a home track bully where you win games at home when the conditions are all good for you and it's a flat track sort of thing. But you can't win away, and that's how I see it with Joshua. He has to go and prove himself around the world for me, and I think that's
Hey,
the move for me.
why didn't Lennox Lewis fight in South Africa after he got knocked down there? He should have gone back to South
Yeah, but
Africa, man.
yeah, but I think that that whole show was a shit show. Let's be real. Did anyone enjoy that show? Was it Johannesburg?
Yeah, I think
It was
so.
in
Yeah.
Johannesburg, right?
Johannesburg. It was in Johannesburg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did anyone enjoy that show? It was a shit show. Lennox Lewis turned up about a week before. It was in some small little arena. It was horrible, wasn't it? The altitude was so high. These two lumps could barely throw two shots without blowing. So, did you really want to see that again, or did you prefer to see it in America under the lights, good conditions, and a great knockout by Lennox Lewis? Yeah, I think
Yeah, it was fine for me because
it's
either guy's from
it's a bit
Africa. So.
different. It's a bit different. I mean, Joshua was at Madison Square Garden. I mean, Lennox Lewis was in some shanty town somewhere in Johannesburg. So you can see why that fight didn't happen again there. So
Fair enough.
it's
Fair
different.
enough. I was just joking, of course. All right. You guys, go ahead. Keep talking. I'm gonna start the phone lines. So go ahead.
No, go on, recognize.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, and you're right. It was better that they fought in the States. I mean, neither guy's from Africa, right? And so it's not like anybody had a.
So
an
some
advantage.
people
I'm
would
talking about
disagree.
Lewis and Rock.
Some people would disagree, but go ahead.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
who
no,
had
I
yeah,
know, but they're not
yeah.
from Africa. Okay, they weren't born there.
It's true though, isn't it? It's like Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali, when he fought Fraser, he never fought in the same place twice, did he? Because but it was different. There was no advantage for them fighting in Manila and so on. Do you know what I mean? So, but this one, obviously, there's a lot of static noise, Butcho.
Yeah, it's recognized, man. I don't know where he is. All right.
I'm close to the beach. I wonder if that has anything to do with it. I'm thinking that might have something to do with it. Let me see. I'm
Well,
gonna try to move away.
yeah. All right. I'm gonna start the phone lines. Stu, please take over. Maybe you can read some comments.
Do I sound better, Stu?
Yeah, you sound better now, bro.
All right.
I'll go down the comments. Del Boy Boxing News says Canelo getting joint problems from that steroid use. So I'm not sure. I've not heard anything about that. About him getting any.
There's something wrong with his knee. I think he might need something. I forgot what the procedure was. Tommy H says Pac was a. Oh man, fuck.
Shepard says Canelo needs new knees. Joe Lopez has beaten Thurman. That looked terrible against Josesita Lopez. He's on about the title, I think.
Yeah.
So I don't think he agrees that Pacquiao should get credit for it. Who else? Jason Bourne. Charlo will get smashed by Smith at 168. Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
I think as soon as Smith lands that left hook, then Charlo's going to be in all sorts of bother. And Charlo's not the sort of guy who's going to get behind the jab and try and survive. And he looks that sort of guy that when he gets hurt, he's just going to start swinging.
Yeah.
And I think that could be even worse for him. So
he would have no choice but to swing.
Yeah,
but
because
it's going to be bad for him though.
Yeah, it will be. I mean, you see what happens when when Callum Smith touches middleweight. You see what happens. I know Ndam's he's no fucking Carl Froch when it comes to the chin department, but
But still, like when
Smith
looks like he's getting stronger. On top of that,
exactly. It's not that the thing is, Ndam usually survives. He gets knocked down a lot, but he usually goes the distance. But there was no way he was going the distance in that one.
No, not with that guy.
Yeah. So yeah, I just think it's like I said though. You've got to go where the fights are, and I think they'll all follow Canelo, like Butcho said. I don't know why Canelo's talking about Kovalev though. I think he's had one fight at 168. He beat a fucking bum. Let's be real, in Rocky Fielding. So he's not proved anything at 168. So I don't get this 175 fight with Canelo. Kovalev. Sorry, I just don't get that. What about you, Recognize?
It's bullshit, man. It's just for negotiation purposes. They want to make Golovkin believe that Canelo has so many options and that he doesn't need a Golovkin fight. So they're coming up with these, potential fights that Canelo has, which is bullshit, man.
Yeah.
All right, guys, the phone lines are open. Please call in. The topic is, where will Pacquiao be ranked if he defeats Keith Thurman? You can even let us know if you think that Pacquiao is already above Mayweather, because a lot of people actually have Pacquiao above Mayweather in the all-time greats list. So go ahead, call in, guys. Number is on your screen.
I'm seeing in the chat that Yard Kovalev is official. Now I've not had a chance to catch up on a lot of the boxing because obviously I've got some things going on, so I've not really had a chance to catch up on the news. But I'm seeing in the chat that Kovalev yard is official. So, do you know anything about that, Butch?
No, they keep saying that it's. I mean, I don't know anymore, man. I didn't see anything today though. I checked the news and I didn't see it. Maybe it's like breaking news. Can somebody confirm that? Because I've had enough of that fucking fight, man. Either you make it or you don't. It's getting annoying, man.
Corruption. Just to put corruption right, I said some shanty town in South Africa. I didn't say South Africa was a shanty town. You have to listen up clearly now, because I know some of you get butt hurt. But if you're gonna have a pop at me, at least listen to what I say first. But I didn't say South Africa was the whole place was a shanty town. I said it was in some shanty town because it was a shit arena. I don't know where.
I don't
It was in
remember.
Johannesburg. I remember it being a real high altitude. I just, that's all I remember. But calm down.
Just say it was a shithole. The whole. Nah, I'm joking. All right. The number is on your screen, and I'm gonna copy and paste it and put it in the chat. There you go. So, Stu, this is a tough question. Maybe it's not tough for you, but do you have Manny Pacquiao above Mayweather in the all-time great rankings?
That's a fucking tough one, It's a tough one, man, because I think when you look at who fought the guys, who fought the best guys in their peak, who's the more entertaining, who was more fan friendly, who went at more divisions. I know some of them divisions were fucking made up, but Manny has a big shout. But yet you see Floyd, he barely got touched in some of his fights. But it was a lot of cherry picking by Floyd, a lot of things going his way, shall we say, and a lot of terrible fights that were appalling to watch. I mean, let's be real. Some of you Americans listen to this show were getting charged $100 for him to pop shot his way to a points win against Robert Guerrero. For fuck's sake, I mean that's the thing that leaves a bad taste in my mouth about Mayweather. I think Mayweather is more talented than Manny Pacquiao when it comes to boxing skills. I think he is. But when you put the whole package in, I don't know, man. Maybe Pacquiao, Floyd, it's very close. Maybe Pacquiao just nudges it for me. Just edges it.
Because of what? Is there one thing that makes you think that Pacquiao's above Mayweather?
I don't know. Like I said, it's a tough one because Floyd, for me, is a lot more talented than Manny. But Manny brought a lot of exciting fights and wars, didn't he? He fought everyone, and he didn't just fight them once. He fought them twice, 3 times, 4 times in some cases. He went up the divisions, fought the best guys there. I mean, when he fought Margarito was a guy Floyd Mayweather wanted no part of.
Mm-hmm.
Yet Manny went in there and rearranged his face. Shane Mosley, a guy that destroyed. Shane Mosley, the man that destroyed Margarito. And he beat Shane Mosley up. He beat fucking Cotto, who was a real top fighter at the time. Cotto was in his prime when Pacquiao beat him up, and he made a right mess of him. So when you look at some of the wins he's had, and even that Mayweather fight was close, weren't it? It weren't. Floyd didn't run away with it. He wasn't beating Manny up. It was a close fight, So yeah, I mean, for me, Manny just edges Floyd.
Yeah, but then Mayweather beat Mosley. He beat Mosley after Mosley beat Margarito, right? So
yeah,
yeah,
he did. Yeah, he did. But he beat Hatton in a lot better fashion, didn't he?
yeah.
He beat
See
Cotto in a lot better
yeah.
fashion. He beat.
That's the thing. Like you said, you say
And
something against Pacquiao, but then you have something against Mayweather. It goes back and forth.
yeah, it's very close because, like I said, they're 2 different fighters altogether. One puts his heart and soul on the line, and one's a very defensive fighter that doesn't want to get hit, so he'll fight negative and use his skills to win the fight. It's what you like, isn't it? I mean, a lot of the purists and the boxing snobs will pick Floyd, but you know me, I like my come forward fighters that plant their feet and make it entertaining, and that's why Manny edges it for me.
Yep. All right. Now, you for some reason you don't think that the Keith Thurman, if Pacquiao beats Thurman, that's gonna have any effect in Pacquiao's legacy, like at all? He's 40 years old, by the
Well,
way. Oh yeah. Hold on.
because
I'm gonna tell you, Stu.
Pacquiao's already got his great wins.
Yeah, but it's like George Foreman. Everybody talks about George Foreman at 43, whatever. He regained the heavyweight championship of the world. This is kind of the same thing. I know Thurman is not the undisputed welterweight champion, but
Yeah, but let's be real. Anyone that knows the George Foreman from the 70s will know that George Foreman that came back and knocked out Michael Moorer was a shadow of the man that Muhammad Ali beat. And, at the end of the day, that George Foreman already made his, established his legacy. He's one of the hardest
yeah, I
punchers
know.
of all time. But did that Michael Moorer win make him any more?
Yes, absolutely. Everybody.
I don't know. Did it though? Did it? Because Michael Moorer was fucking useless. Let's be real.
No, I'm not.
He was.
But
He was terrible.
I know
He let George Foreman knock him out with that hideous shot, that terrible shot. Let's be real. I mean,
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, George
I'm not
Foreman
saying
was
Michael Moorer
an
was the
all-time great
shit.
for me. Anyway, he did.
But Stu, you gotta be like, that people, when they talk about George Foreman, obviously they talk about the 70s Foreman, but they also talk about the fact that he was able to make a comeback at the elite level in the shape he was. God, the guy was fat, man. Let's be honest. So I don't know, man. This is, I don't. You guys in the chat, let me know when you hear about when you hear about George Foreman. Do you also hear about what he did in the past, but what he did also in the 90s? I don't know. This is what when I hear George Foreman, it's a comeback as well that comes into mind.
Yeah. It is. I mean, it's got to be respected, isn't it? It has to be respected. What Foreman did, but I just don't think it didn't make him any higher in the all-time great list. He'd already sealed his legacy with the wars he had with Fraser and Ali and so on. But
Okay.
I thought that Michael Moorer win, it was. I think it was because it was a shock. But let's be real. Go and watch that George Foreman. Fucking hell, it was like watching the African American Valuev. I mean, it's fucking slow and robotic. It was just terrible.
Yeah, how the fuck was Michael Moore getting hit with so many shots? Because come on, man, Foreman was just throwing.
The shot that knocked Michael Moore out was a basic shot that took about 10 minutes to land, and he still fucking didn't see it coming. Come on, man.
I know. They're heavyweights, right? But I know. I was just trying to compare, that type of win at the age of 40 and plus. With Pacquiao, if he beats Thurman.
Thurman. I mean, let's be real. If Pacquiao beats up Thurman, all people are going to say is, well, Pacquiao did a little bit better than Josesito Lopez, because he beat up Thurman as well for moments in that fight.
No.
So he had Thurman in all sorts of boxes. So I think coming off a bad win against a bad performance, shall I say, against Lopez, I just don't think it, because I think Manny Pacquiao is a better fight than Thurman anyway. So I don't think it's proven too much, to be honest with you. Because Foreman, let's be real, Thurman's not the one-time Thurman that used to knock everybody out. The one that fought Diego Chavez. That one. It's not him anymore.
It's still in the chat. MB says that the shot that Foreman threw was so poor it looked suspect.
Exactly. This is what I'm trying to say. I wouldn't be surprised if on his deathbed, Moorer comes out with, I threw the fight. Don King gave me a few quid and I threw the fight. It wouldn't surprise me if he comes out on his deathbed and says that, because that shot just didn't look. It was shades of Wilder and Malik Scott, weren't it? When he just fell over from a gush of wind. But it just didn't look right for me. So I'll get what you're saying.
Van Media says that if Pacquiao beats Keith Thurman, they're going to discredit him and say Pacquiao's docking Spence. If Pacquiao beats Spence, then they'll say he's docking Crawford. Well, I don't know about that though.
No, if Pacquiao beats Spence, then we could probably have this conversation again.
Oh, really? No. Well, now what's the difference here, Stu? What's the difference here?
Because Spence is at the peak of his career. He's a lot stronger, hits harder, technically better than Keith Thurman, stays in shape better, got a better jab, doesn't put his chin in the air and swing wildly when he gets hurt. I just think he's an all-round much better fighter, and he's a lot younger as well. And I think Thurman Injuries have caught up with Keith Thurman. I think he's a KO waiting to happen. So I think
So,
if Pacquiao can pull it off against Spence, then
are you
definitely will.
saying that it's a foregone conclusion that Keith Thurman will lose to Spence? Is that what you're saying?
Right now, Keith Thurman gets stopped by Errol Spence.
All
Because
right.
say we like about Mikey Garcia, Keith Thurman doesn't have the survival skills of Mikey Garcia for a start. He doesn't have that big concrete head either, and Mikey just came in to survive. Where Thurman, say what we like about Thurman, he will let his hands go and he will throw shots, and especially when he gets caught. All he does is just go into Wilder mode, where he just swings wildly with his fucking chin in the air. And I think you do that against Errol Spence. Night.
Oop.
Sorry about that, guys. I was having some technical difficulties. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we were just talking about. Was just talking about Pacquiao. If he could beat Errol Spence, then for me that's a lot better win than Keith Thurman. What about you?
Yeah, I think so too. Not saying that he's gonna beat Thurman, but I see what you mean. Like it looks like Thurman's the big Spence, excuse me, is the bigger threat between him and Thurman. He's the bigger man. It seems like he has more power. It seems like he's stronger than Keith Thurman, and on top of that, he's pretty decent boxer. Like what he does really good. So.
And I said about Thurman when he loses his shape, he loses his form, sort of thing, doesn't he? When he starts getting tagged. I've never seen that in Spence. Even when Kell Brook was putting it on him, I still see Spence keeping his shape, sticking to the game plan and doing what he had to do. He didn't fall apart like Thurman does. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, Thurman panics, right? Don't you get that?
Basically that's it. He panics. Yeah.
Like he'll throw punches. I heard you say this. He will throw punches, but it's almost like a get off me, and in a panic way. It's not like with real intent.
Amir Khan sort of punches, get off me punches, where he's just throwing arm punches to roll out of there. He's thinking about rolling out before he's actually let the hands go, sort of thing. So there's no venom on him, and it's just that's what Thurman is doing, and I see that in Khan as well.
I think you people are underestimating Keith Thurman.
No, but we've got to see something. You're only as good as your last fight, Butcho. We can't be romantic here and start thinking of the Keith Thurman of old. We have to go by last performance, and it was not a very good performance. Let's be real. Josesito Lopez shouldn't be living with Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman should have made easy work of that guy, and he didn't. He looked horrible. So we have to go by last fights, and maybe Thurman sharper, maybe a training camp as sharpen things up, and he's probably in better form. Who knows? He's going to have to be in better form if he's going to beat Manny Pacquiao. That's for sure.
Now, to be fair, that guy Keith Thurman was coming off a huge layoff, so just putting it out there.
Yes, he's coming off a layoff, but he's in there with Pacquiao now. There's no time to start trying to find a bit of form and changing a few things here and there and see how it goes. And when you're in there with Pacquiao, you have to be at the top of your game.
Stu, have you seen? Oops, sorry.
Go on.
There's a bit of. Anyways,
no, there isn't. Go
on. Have you seen fighters sometimes fight to the level of their opponents? And this happens in football a lot.
I see it a lot, yeah. I've seen it with Callum Smith. I've seen it with Tyson Fury. I've seen it with Billy Joe Saunders. Where guys, if you keep putting shit in there, before you know it, you are part of the shit. And that's the problem. That's why you have to keep these fighters on their toes. You have to keep them fighting decent opponents, and you've got to keep them hungry. And that's how you get the best out of fighters. You can't keep taking canning it because when you keep feeding them cans, when you put the top guys in there, they're not ready, and they get found out. Like some of these Brits that are going over to America when they're not ready, because Eddie Hearn's under so much pressure to put on these cards. He's taking his young guys over there to get beat. So you've got to be ready, of course. And I think
So
we've seen it in a lot of, especially
but
fighters. Yeah.
so Keith Thurman could it beside now also he was coming from a layoff, and maybe he was fighting to the level of his opponent because he did. I mean, at the first few rounds, during the first few rounds, Keith Thurman was dominating. He even dropped the guy. Then he took it kind of lightly, easy, and then he got caught.
It's a fucking 12-round fight, Butcho. It's a bit like the. Is it the tortoise and the hare race? Is it? You know, when the hare sprints off.
Yeah,
into
but it
the
happens.
fucking sunset, but runs out of steam, and the tortoise passes him and wins, sort of thing. You know, it's a 12-round fight. You know, some fighters do start slow. Some fighters suck punches up and try and wear their opponents out. So it looks like one guy's dominating, but you could see one guy starting to blow because he's putting everything into his shots, and the other guy's starting to come into his game, sort of thing. So it's all about. It's a 12-round fight at the end of the day. Thurman, yes, he did look good for a few rounds, but it's a 12-round fight. And when you judge the whole 12-round fight, he was poor.
I'm just saying.
What was you watching, Bud?
Stu, I'm just saying we have to be careful here because I think we're gonna see a different Keith Thurman, and I might be wrong, obviously, but if this other Thurman that I think still exists comes out for this fight, and we're talking here as if Pacquiao is like we're gonna win easily, and you know because of what Josecito Lopez managed to do against Thurman. Well, now he's fighting Pacquiao, and it's gonna be a different fight. No, man, listen, we have to be careful here.
Listen, this is a 50-50 fight.
Okay.
This is a 50-50 fight for me.
Okay.
Because Pacquiao's nowhere near at his best. He's nowhere near at his best, but Keith Thurman, sorry. We're talking about, does this win put Manny up in the all-time great list? And surely not. You know, Thurman is not his best.
I think that if you either have Pacquiao there or not, right? For me, he's there. He's one of the greatest fighters I've seen with my own eyes. But I don't think the Keith Thurman's gonna if somebody's on the fence about it, I don't think Keith Thurman is exactly that win. You could give him credit for it if he goes in there and he clearly beats him, right? You could give him credit for it and say, look, this is why I think the guy's great. It's because of fights like that. But I don't know if that's gonna tip him any further. What you can do, and I think Precise made a good point, is look, if you have Pacquiao in that all-time great list, one of the best you've ever seen, then you can start comparing him to guys that were in similar position, right? The same age, fighting these top contenders, and then you can start comparing them to that. But it's all opinion. I mean, I'm not here going to try to convince anybody why I think Manny Pacquiao is an all-time great. I just think that my eyes tell me that's a fucking great fighter right there. That's one of the best guys I've ever seen.
Before we get to McGregor boxing on Rival Boxing News, recognize, where do you rank Manny Pacquiao above Floyd Mayweather?
Honestly, I do, but I don't have an argument either way. If you got Floyd over him, I'm okay with it. I think they're both all-time great fighters. I just think that Pacquiao is a bit harder, a bit more of what boxing is really all about.
Yeah, friendlier on the eye, isn't he?
Yeah, friendly on the eyes. But Floyd is, I got him past him now. But Floyd is, if you got Floyd ahead of him, I can't really argue that.
Do you think that the
all-time great?
If Pacquiao beats Keith Thurman, that would be maybe the tipping point?
Well, I mean, look, Pacquiao already outlived him in terms of boxing. He's already showing you that in 70+ fights, he's got more in the tank than Floyd does. Right? Floyd's only been in 50 professional fights, if you want to count the McGregor fight, right? So, yeah, so he's to me, that I also take that into consideration. I also take it into consideration when they fought. What did Floyd really do to him? Like, okay, even if you won the fight, like, what did he separate himself from Pacquiao? I'm not saying Pacquiao separated himself from him in that fight, but Floyd did not separate himself. Like, look, I'm Floyd. This is what I do to all-time greats. I mean, it was a game of tap tap. Let me get out of the way.
See, when you look at it, when you look at the all-time greats, in most people's eyes, you're just reeling off the names, and each one of them were fighters for the fans and put it all on the line. They're exciting. They went for the KO. Yes, they got beat sometimes, but because they always fought the best, you always got a good show with them. And then when you mention the names, most of them are like that. But with Floyd, it's the total opposite. He sort of had so much talent, but would only give us 50% of what he had on show. It was like he was robbing the fans, and he was making a mockery out of boxing. And he actually hurt boxing for a long time. You know, he actually hurt it. And Manny Pacquiao did as well with that fight. It was both of them. And I've always, that's why I've always had a bee in my bonnet about Mayweather. But as for talent, I think he's more talented than Manny. I think he's a better fighter, a better boxer. Sorry, but obviously Manny's the fighter here, and that's what I go for.
All right, before we get to McGregor, H Money is calling recognize a racist. So
yeah, H Monkey is he's nobody. I mean, I heard him go on McGregor's podcast, and he did the same shit. He did the same thing. This guy's a clown. He's a troll. I don't care if he really means that. He's obviously mentally retarded, and like him calling me a racist. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, I don't like guys like you for sure. 100%. I have no problem saying that. Stupid little victim bitches like you.
Yeah, I mean,
definitely don't like you.
The thing is, you don't do yourself any favors with this victim card. It's cringy, man, and it makes you look weak.
No,
honestly, it makes you look weak and pathetic. And actually,
Stu, I have no problem saying, like, when it comes to people like that, I definitely don't like them. Yes, there is a prejudice. I don't like them at all.
All right,
I would agree with that. But
all right.
Like, stop trying to make me feel bad.
Now,
like,
the opinions of the views and opinions expressed are those of the guest and do not necessarily reflect the views of BDA Boxing. Disclaimers out there.
Yes.
All right. All right, McGregor. Sorry, man. Go ahead. What do you want to say about this Pacquiao legacy cage?
He's an all-time great. There's no disputing it. If anyone wants to try and dispute it, you're a bit of an idiot. Whatever way you want to look at it, he's either an 8-weight or a 7-weight world champion, whichever way you want to look at it. He's the only man to actually achieve that. When you guys were talking about the Thurman and Spence situation, which would be the better win, I'd say the Spence one would be a better win. Not just because of Spence allegedly is the best welterweight. It's all alleged until he proves it.
Mm-hmm.
But the main reason is if he were to beat Spence, he would make an achievement he hasn't done in his career, which is he would have unified and won a belt. He hasn't done that in his entire career. So that's the first thing.
That's true.
That's the very first thing. That's an extra achievement. So that's an extra achievement. Whereas beating Thurman, he's just the WBA champion.
Yeah,
it's not really a unification. It's just picking up a belt in the same sanction.
Yeah, that's true. But why do we have Spence above Thurman? I know Thurman hasn't been looking good, but he's fought more top welterweights.
It's activity. It's activity at the moment. That's the reason. Currently, it's down to activity. Thurman's had one fight in 2 years. Before that, Thurman was ranked the #1 welterweight in the world. He was the unified champion. He had WBC and the WBA Super. He was the unified guy. He had 2 of the belts. He was in the top 10 pound for pound according to Ring. He was number 9 before he went into his layoff. So Thurman was the guy, and now people are just like, well, what has Spence done since then? Like, look,
I just think it's the eye test.
Exactly.
The eye test.
Yeah, the eye test is fantastic. It's absolutely brilliant. I mean, I can look at a fighter and I can tell you 9 times out of 10 he's a very good fighter.
Exactly.
But does it mean anything if he doesn't do shit?
No, exactly. But I think with Spence, I've just seen enough in Spence to know that I think he'd be far too much for Keith Thurman right now.
I mean, Keith Thurman.
And he might be too much for Pacquiao as well.
He might very well be. He might very well be. Errol Spence had a very tough time against Kell Brook, correct?
I agree with that.
He had a tough time, and he won that fight. And people will say, well, he had a tough time because he went into England. Kell had a fractured eye socket and was stabbed in the leg for trying to hit on a lad out on Marbella.
Jesus. Yeah.
Right?
I mean, he had a bad stretch.
So Kel came into there in a very bad way, right?
Mm-hmm.
He had a fractured eye socket. He had 8 months in between. It takes a year for a fracture to heal on an elbow, fully. Never mind an eye socket. So he had surgery, comes in. Am I still on the line or was I dropped off?
No, we're still on the line. I can hear you.
Right. So he came in, he had a fractured eye socket. He was stabbed in the leg. He comes in. Spence was getting beat up for a few rounds, took over, won the fight. Since then, he beat Lamont Peterson, who a fight later retired, who's originally a 140-pounder. Beat a fat one fucking featherweight in Mikey Garcia, who had to eat pizza to make weight, right? Beat a Campo, who nearly nobody ever heard of, without having to go to BoxRec and be like, oh yeah, he fought on so-and-so's undercard back in 2013. He's okay, right? Like, realistically, what has he really done other than has he beaten anybody who you can say is prime?
That's what
No.
I keep saying, man.
So when people say this, it's all alleged. It's all alleged. Keith Thurman beat Sean Porter and Danny Garcia in their prime back to back. Back to back. So that's something that we can argue all day long. But Keith Thurman right now, he's in a position once again due to inactivity because he was off playing the pan flutes out in the middle of the Himalayas and beating up Tibetan monks.
Perfect.
Absolutely,
So,
man. I agree 100%. Well said, man. It's just lately that Keith Thurman hasn't looked good, but come on. He's better than Spence. Resume-wise.
That's the problem that I've had with Spence, with the Spence, like, fanboys that over-exaggerate him being on. Like, if you really look at his best wins, they're very questionable. First of all, there's not that many of them. And second, you know, they're like, okay, look, the Kell Brook fight. It would have been nice. And I've heard Spence fans say this. Look, he wanted to fight him before he fought Triple G. And I agree. I heard him saying he wanted to fight him. And there's some truth to that.
He did say that. He called him out many times.
Right.
Many
He's
times.
Like, look, I want that fight. And I agree with that. And so I'm not going to blame him for that, but it still doesn't change the fact he fought Kell Brook like McGregor stated. The guy got his face broken. He'd been stabbed. You know, there's all those little question marks. And on top of that, he had a hard time with him. Look, Kell Brook, he could be tough. He could be a tricky fighter, and he's pretty tough. So, you know, again, I'm not going to blame him too much for that. But when you're talking about ranking him as one of the best, you got to take all those things into consideration. And then he fights Mikey Garcia, who I clearly thought he beat every single round, but he didn't knock him out. And let's face it, like McGregor said, this was a guy that was, you know, eating pizza and just to gain weight, just to make just to be a welterweight. And, you know, that's not a great win. So he still has time to prove. But the eye test tells me that he's the bigger threat at welterweight at this point for a guy like Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah. Eye test was I look, Errol Spence is a very good fighter. He's very good on the eye, you can tell. He can jab, he's got decent feet, he's got good generalship, he's a good body puncher, he's got good accumulation power. He may have slight one-punch knockout power, but we haven't seen it a lot. So he's quite a well-rounded guy. Keith Thurman, similar. I think Keith's better on the back foot, though. Here's the question. What happens if Errol has to fight on the back foot? How does he deal with this? What happens if he fights another southpaw as well?
Those are good questions,
another
bro.
Good question.
Those are all the, you know, look, that's why, and I don't want to jump ahead because Pacquiao could lose this fight to Thurman, but, you know, if Pacquiao wins impressively against Keith Thurman, people are going to want to see Spence, Pacquiao, and you're going to have a southpaw versus a southpaw. Granted, an older version of Pacquiao, a smaller guy at the same time. So, you know, I think it's a good test. I think it's a good test for him to see how he does, especially like McGregor said. What if he has to fight off the back foot? What if Manny Pacquiao makes him fight off the back foot, which Pacquiao does just about every welterweight he's ever fought. Name me the one welterweight that stood toe-to-toe with him that didn't back up. It's like Marquez.
Marcus.
And Bradley.
Jeff Horn.
And Bradley.
Jeff
and
Horn.
Jeff Horn. And we saw what happened to Jeff Horn, right? like Jeff Horn almost got his face ripped off in that 9th round. But
well, Jeff Horn also picked up the WBO World Championship.
Well, of course. I mean, look, he got the decision, right? I mean, I thought he lost the fight, but he did he took a beating for that. And Jeff Horn is a big welterweight, right? But not many guys have stood up to Manny Pacquiao, is my point, at welterweight. A lot of these guys had to fight off the back foot. They fought different. And the guys that did, the guys that you just named, that we just named, that fought him and didn't back up, they had to pay for something. One guy got rewarded, and that was winning by knockout against.
All right, I think we lost recognize.
Sorry, I had to. There was a boat passing by.
Okay. Continue.
Jesus. So not many guys were able to stand toe to toe with him, and the guys that did, they were in for a hell of a fight. There was a fight on their hand, and some of them lost. Marquez knocked him out. He was the only one that was rewarded with that, but he got a nose broken because of that fight. Because he was stand his ground. So my point is, it's still an interesting fight. I think Pacquiao versus Spence, if he beats Keith Thurman, is going to be interesting because they're going to say, well, look, he beat Keith Thurman, and they would be right. If he does beat Keith Thurman convincingly, they would be right by saying, make that fight happen. I'm talking about the fans, the Spence fans. Make that fight happen because he can still beat guys like Keith Thurman. So we'll see what happens.
Guys like Keith Thurman. Well, are you saying he's? Are you saying he's young, like just
guys?
He's not a champion?
No, I don't see him as a champion. I mean, look, he has won straps at welterweight. Mm-hmm. He is at his best, he has a good resume. On top of that, I don't agree with the decisions, but he was in those fights. Thought he lost to Porter. I'm going to be on the minority on this one, like big time, but I thought Danny Garcia beat him. I thought he edged him out. I didn't like the way. I don't like the way he fought in the end.
The Danny Garcia win. A bit of an echo. The Danny Garcia win is a strange one for me because it depends what Danny turns up on the night. He could be really lackluster, Danny Garcia, and because he doesn't let his hands go much. Well, recently he had, but at the time he was much of a counter puncher, wasn't he? Trying to pick the right moments to pick the perfect shot. And I think it cost Danny in a couple of his fights because he just didn't do enough work. And I think that's probably what cost him in the Foreman fight. He was looking the aggressive, but he wasn't really doing much for me. So I think Thurman probably just nicked that. But Danny's the sort of guy that it is a good win, but it's not a great win because all you got to do is be quite busy and hold a decent shot, and you'll get a win against Garcia. And that's how I see Danny, because I don't think Danny's this massive puncher that everyone keeps telling me about. Because you've only got to look at his records.
No, he's not.
He's got a very good left hook, and if he lands it on someone that hasn't got a very good chin that closes his eyes, then he's going to take you out. But a lot of these guys have stood up to Garcia's punches, so I don't think he hits as hard as we think. So
you can't underestimate him. Don't get me wrong. No. He doesn't have.
It's a good win, but not a great win.
But you don't think it's a big win? Like, you don't think it's a win that...
It's a good win, yeah, it's a good win, but it's not a great win.
I mean, you're talking about if Pac wins, right?
Yes. I had Lamont Peterson beating Danny Garcia. I had Mauricio Herrera beating Danny Garcia.
I'm talking about...
I think I had Ashley Theophane beating him as well. I'm sure I did. So did he fight Ashley Theophane or someone like that from the UK? I can't remember who it was now. He fought some guy from the UK, man, and I thought I had the UK guy winning it. I think so. Yeah, there's a few losses he should have, Danny Garcia. So I don't think he's as great as a lot of people think he is.
All right, what I'm saying here is, when you look back on a fighter on a Sugar Ray Leonard, when you look at his biggest fights and the highlights, and there's a certain fighters he fought, you know what I mean? With Manny Pacquiao, if he beats Keith Thurman, isn't this fight, this win, gonna be one of those highlight reels? At 40 years old, he beats Keith Thurman. You guys don't think, right? You don't think that, right? Stu doesn't think that. What about you, Recognize?
No, I mean, look, Is Keith Thurman a bigger win? And look, I understand what we're talking about here. We're talking about 40-year-old Pacquiao.
Yes.
Is Keith Thurman a bigger win than Miguel Cotto, than Oscar De La Hoya, than Marquez, Timothy Bradley,
Yes.
guys like that?
Not Cotto, but
you
yeah,
think,
more than De La Hoya because of the
I don't think-
factors.
yeah,
If you take in,
but we okay, yeah, I understand positioning where they're at right now, but
yeah,
like, look, man, Keith Thurman is a fine boxer. He's good. He's good for his era. He's good, you know. He's up there, but in terms of historically this being a great win, it is because he's 40. But Keith Thurman is not a legendary fighter, in my opinion. Okay, he's not a legendary fighter, and I'm not saying that if he beats Spence now, if he was to beat Spence now, who hasn't beaten legendary fighters, it's going to be a bigger win, and it's going to just what it's going to show is that, look, this was a great fighter. That part of his greatness was that even at 40, he could still beat the next generation's fighter.
Yeah. Hey,
Okay.
I've got a question. I've got a question for you, Recognize and McGregor, because you're historians. What is the better win? Foreman's win against Mora or Pacquiao if he beats Thurman? Because we was discussing that.
That's a good question. Yeah, that's a real good question, bro.
Wow.
I don't know, McGregor. Go ahead. Yeah, if you want to answer this first.
I'd say the win over Mora.
Mm-hmm.
Beating the 2-weight world champion.
I'm gonna say Mora too. I'm gonna say
regaining
Mora too.
lineage and becoming the after being in a hiatus pretty much for 20 years, coming back and becoming the oldest heavyweight champion in the history of the sport. I think that's near enough untouchable as an accomplishment.
Do you think that win made George Foreman higher in the all-time great list? Or was it that sort of win?
Well, I've done an all-time great list. I have a top 100, and it helped bump him up on my list. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. For me, it didn't. Because I remember. Well, I don't remember because I wasn't alive at the time when Foreman was at his best. But what I've seen of that 70s Foreman, he was an absolute monster at his best. Now, look what he did to Joe Frazier. I mean, this guy was a monster. And that one that came back and fought Mora was just it was a shadow of the man. It was sad to see, sort of thing. And that's how bad Michael Mora was. He just sat there and just let Foreman unleash these robotic, slow punches and just did nothing. Just stood there and waited for him to land. And then Michael Moore is probably one of the worst champions of the 90s. He really was, man.
Yeah. All right.
I still think we're gonna take and regaining lineage 20 years later.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive.
It was.
But I was just gonna say that I think that, you know, let's see how the Pacquiao fight plays out against Thurman. So as of right now, yeah, obviously what Foreman did at 45, 46 was impressive. You know, that was an impressive win. He won by knockout. He's clearly way past his prime.
Heavyweights.
Yeah, he's way past heavyweights.
Yeah, but heavyweights are slow as fuck, man.
But he's a fat. But dude, he's fat, man.
Yeah, he's fat. No, but hold on. This is what I want to make sure we understand here. Heavyweights, we know that they have an expiration date that's fucking 40 something, 40 years of age, right? We're talking about a welterweight, guys. A welterweight here. That's 40 years old, almost 41. Come on, man.
That's a little bit more impressive.
Exactly.
I agree with that. Smaller guys age faster. They just do. But Manny Pacquiao is a special breed. That's what.
Can I add one thing, by the way? It's not a welterweight. It's really a featherweight. Really,
absolutely.
Even though he's at flyweight, the dude's a souped-up featherweight. Like really, truthfully, he's a featherweight in size.
I would say lightweight, but you're right. I mean, we're either way you look at it, it's like, look, this is a dude that he came from fucking flyweight to fucking featherweight to, you know, and he's doing this shit, you know, for the last 10 years fighting it at welterweight. And he's been whipping ass for the most part.
Yep. All right, guys, hold on. We have a phone call, so we're gonna take it right now. 901, you're on the air.
Hey, yo, it's Ace Money. Recognize you a bitch. You a bitch. You scared of me, bro. You scared of duck? You ducking me? You pussy ass nigga? What's up, bitch? What's up?
All
Where's
right.
H Money?
All right, go ahead.
Whole money?
Recognize.
H Monkey?
What's up, bitch?
No money?
What's up?
Retard?
He's on mute.
Retard?
All right, you want to
Listen,
say
H
something?
Money.
All right, he hung up. Well,
look, H Money, I don't like taking advantage of mentally challenged kids like you. Right? Obviously, it's clear as day. I have no interest in arguing with you. So get lost.
I thought he was gonna, and he wanted a link.
Hold on. Before I get my son to beat you up.
Yeah, strange character that H Money.
He's
very
weird,
strange.
man. And he wanted a link.
Yeah, he is.
Can you believe he wanted a link?
I reckon
are
somewhere.
you out of your fucking mind?
I reckon somewhere in America there's a fucking nut house missing a patient.
Jesus.
I mean, we should report this because he needs his medication. Bless him. Yeah.
Bro, he came onto my live the other day and he left himself because like he couldn't answer me questions. So he was just like, "I'm not gonna answer." Blah 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 blah. He's like, Eddie Hearn's he literally went, "Eddie Hearn's the best promoter of all time," and then I said, "Name every promoter ever," and he just was like, "I ain't gonna do."
I heard that conversation.
Dumb fuck.
Yeah. Yep.
Dumb fuck.
Then he challenges. He fucking calls. He just this is a routine of his. He does this and then he calls everybody a bitch, a racist bitch.
Yeah, boys, you see that video? You see that video out where Kugan Cassius from IFL TV is threatening to cave Prince Patel's skull in? You see that?
I'll cave your fucking skull in.
That's what Kugan Cassius said to Prince Patel. There's a clip come out. It's just recently been released, and it's funny as hell because we did a video on this channel about Prince Patel being an absolute shite and a real piece of shit, and he certainly is that. And Kugan Cassius obviously had enough of him, and he threatened to crack his skull open, I think, or something, cave his face in or something.
Yeah,
he said, "I'll cave your fucking head in."
Who said that to him?
Kugan said it to Prince Patel.
People want to know what the background story is. I mean, I've tried to do a bit of research, and the best I'm getting, and this could might be just hearsay sort of thing, but the best I'm getting is that Prince Patel had a dig at him about being a Matchroom fanboy and not interviewing him or something, or waiting for him. Last, I think he interviewed him one of the last ones or something, and he said something, and then I think Kugan just exploded because they've done a few interviews together, and this guy's been really disrespectful to Kugan. I think maybe that could be it.
Do we even give
Look,
a
I don't
fuck?
like Prince Patel or anything, but Kugan needs to get back in place, mate. This dude's a pro boxer.
Yeah.
Fuck Kugan up.
Nah, but Prince Patel ain't beating Kugan. Fuck out of here, man.
Mate, Kugan released a spar footage with a guy who was 126 pounds, took one body shot and keeled over like he was having a dump for China.
Yeah, but I think that might have been just messing about, man. I know. Don't get me wrong. He ain't no Deontay Wilder, is he? He's not gonna bring that windmill up and fucking knock someone out. But I just Prince Patel.
Yeah, Apology Man says too. I saw that video. I've never seen Kugan that angry. He's angry. Oh boy, he's a big boy though.
Yeah, I mean,
I gotta watch that, man.
But Prince Patel has that effect on people. He's a real piece of shit, and he's not a very likable guy, and that's why he's fighting in high schools in Hungary at the moment instead of fighting.
Fighting in high schools and shit.
Yeah, I think one of his fights was in a Catholic church or something. One was in a fucking Tesco's car park. I don't know, but yeah, that's the sort of career he's got at the moment. So he's not a very liked man, and obviously he's rolled Kugan up again. And that's, like I said, there's only so much you can take from someone, isn't there?
Yeah. It's just like H Money who's still in the chat saying, "I am the king."
Like H.
Yeah.
Right. It's like H Money, like H Monkey talking shit. Like eventually, like he's gonna get smacked in the face, right? If he acts like that in person, eventually somebody's gonna get pissed off and just smack him.
Yeah. Yeah.
He
I'll
should
fight
fight.
you any day.
He should
Little,
fight. He
little
should fight.
H money. I'll fight you any day.
He should no. He should fight Charlie what's his name again? The schizophrenic.
Zelenov.
Charlie Z.
Zelenov. Yes.
I got
that would be a
Charlie
good
Z
fight.
whipping. I got Charlie Z whipping. No, he would whip H Monkey's ass for sure.
That'd be a great fight. I don't know if
I got my money on Charlie Z.
I don't know if it should be legal though. I don't know if that should be allowed. But ethically
Doesn't
speaking,
matter.
you know what I mean?
He would beat the living daylights out of him.
I don't think it's ethically okay to have. Those people.
Come on,
beat,
Ace Money. Tell me where to meet you at. Tell me where to meet you at, Little Money. Little Money, tell me where to meet you at.
Forget it, man. These guys are a bit weird.
No, I know he's trolling, man. I know he is. I'm having fun with him. I'm not taking anything he says serious.
Yeah, I mean that guy's come
He's a troll.
We're just kidding here, people. This is all a big joke. Actually, H Money might be in our payroll.
Could be.
Could be. That's what some people were saying that we made him. He's one of our characters or something like.
He's a BDA still. He's a shit.
I'll say this right now: he's not one of your characters because he was on other streams about 2 months ago, calling in as well, calling himself Dogman originally.
What was his name?
He called himself Dogman originally before
Dogman.
And then he turned into Mr. DAZN. Now he's Mr. Matchroom USA and H Money. So I mean, I know who this dude is.
Oh man. This always happens with BDA.
Ain't that right, Dogman? They call me Dogman. First time I ever heard him call in, and nearly pissed myself.
He's like, I don't know, but he reminds me of X. He's like, let's fight. I want to fight. I like this dude, man. I like him.
All right.
I tell you what. I tell you what. No money. Meet me on 42nd Street in Times Square. There's a lot of cameras there, so you'll be, it'll be safe. You step to me, and let's see if I don't knock your head off with a smack. Just a smack.
Hey, H Money's going to turn up with all his fucking Hebrew Israelite brothers, man. You better be careful.
Oh, nah, I got
the views and opinions expressed are those of the guests and not necessarily. You get the fucking point. All right, guys, we have another phone call.
They're going to call you a name.
We have another phone call. 510, you're on the air.
What's up, y'all? This is Ross Clock 222, the one and only. The MOBC, my own boxing community. 49-0 in debates.
All right. What's up, Ross?
49-0.
I thought you... All right.
Yeah, I'm 40.
I thought you were 50.
Yeah, I thought it was 50.
I smell a 50. Hey, I smell a Brian Nielsen record coming up.
I'll be
what's up, Ross?
as soon as I debate an MMA fighter fan. Go ahead. What's the topic?
Mayweather. Pacquiao. If Pacquiao beats Keith Thurman. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, first of all, George Foreman's win over Michael Moore is, even if when Manny Pacquiao beats Thurman, Foreman's feat is bigger, would be bigger than that. It's better than that. I mean, Michael Moore is just a better fighter than Keith Thurman, a better resume than Keith Thurman, and one of the best light heavyweights to ever do it. So that's not a comparison. Keith Thurman is best win is versus slow Danny Garcia and little short football player Sean Porter.
Superb. Yeah, I agree completely.
And then he struggled. And then he struggled in his last fight against Joshua-Ruiz nephew.
All right, Rasclot, who has a better resume, Keith Thurman or Errol Spence Jr.?
Go ahead. They both. No, come on, that's easy. Keith Thurman has a better resume because of slow Danny Garcia and Sean Porter. But the thing about Spence is you got to give him credit for fighting a little gas station agent, fat little Mikey Garcia, the gas station agent. He looked like a fat like a little fat janitor that works at an elementary school.
That's racist, man. That's racist. I ain't having that shit.
Oh my
No,
God.
it's true. And then now, all of a sudden, now Spence called out Burchell, talking about he's going lower. You didn't see my comment? He said he's going to call out Burchell next.
What?
He's going to go lower.
Where'd you
he
see
wants
that?
Lomachenko. He wants all the smaller guys. So look it up. He said, I'm taking out all
Who
the...
wants?
Wait,
hold
no,
on.
no.
Who wants
Spence.
No, go read it.
Spence.
If Spence does that.
Why would I lie? He wants to call out Burchell. But anyway,
Nah, mate, that's like Amir Khan fighting War did.
Go ahead,
I
Rascal.
want to see a rematch between Canelo and Amir Khan. Don't you guys want to see that? A rematch?
Oh my God, where is this going, Rascal?
You want to see Khan? You want to see Khan?
Anyway,
go like Amir Khan, then yeah, that is
anyway,
what you want to see
anyway,
again. Because
let's
I think
get down to the
I don't think he's
nitty-gritty
gonna
of things.
this time.
You guys, Keith Thurman is an easy fight. Let's be real.
Oh,
This is going to be an easy fight.
You're on the
Manny
record.
Pacquiao. Guaranteed.
Rascal.
Guaranteed Keith Thurman is going to be easy.
If it's not an easy fight, you gotta come back and call in and say that you wanna make love to H Money, your biggest fan.
Hey, you know what? I don't have a problem with H Money because I was listening to his last interview. I don't know what he got going on with you guys, but when I heard him talk about Manny Pacquiao, I agreed with him 100%. Keith Thurman is going to be an easy fight, you guys. Guaranteed.
Wow.
That man is going to fight off the back foot and try to win off jabs. Guaranteed. He's going to try to throw little left hooks here and there, straight rights here and there, trying to catch Manny Pacquiao coming in. I'm going to catch him coming in. Nah. He's going to get beat up in that fight. He's going to win 3 rounds in that fight. The first round, the 6th round, and the 11th round. Those are the only 3 rounds.
I see Thurman landing on Pacquiao. I see Pacquiao walking into shots because I just think Pacquiao's slowed down that much that I just don't think he has the in and out buzz he used to be like a little wasp, didn't he? In and out, but he just hasn't got it anymore. So when he's trying to get inside because he's given up so much range half the time, I think he's just too slow to get inside at the moment, and I think he's walking on the shots. But yeah, I think Thurman's so vulnerable at the moment. I think as soon as Pacquiao, if he can start landing combinations and planting his foot, I think definitely see a Pacquiao stoppage.
I agree. I agree that Manny Pacquiao was slower. His feet are slower, but the difference is he still has the fast hands. And Keith Thurman isn't the greatest boxer fighting off the back foot. He's not that great. He struggled against Sean Porter, and he barely beat Danny Garcia. Barely beat him.
So, Rascal, Keith Thurman.
Yes.
It's not gonna be a big win for Pacquiao. Is that what you're saying?
Oh no! This is a big. It's a big win for this generation. Yes, this is going to be a big win. I think, in my humble opinion, if Manny Pacquiao, whether he win or loses, I think he should retire after this fight. Because the last thing we want to see is Manny Pacquiao lose to somebody that's not worth his resume. Just like Jeff Horn. I mean, that was a total disgrace. Like he beat Jeff Horn. Jeff Horn should not be on his resume. Is basically what I mean. So it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. He should retire after this, in my opinion.
All right. Anything else?
Yeah, I just want to say, shout out to you guys. Always a pleasure having me on. Again, there's always, it was a few dudes in the chat room, Box and Jason Bourne. They wanted to be my prostitutes, but I told them I only deal with women. They're talking about they want to suck dick for me. I can't have that. You know what I mean? I can't have that. You feel me? Recognize we players.
Yeah,
you know
dudes, man. Don't be listen.
You know what I mean?
You gotta understand, man. Rascal's a man.
Talking,
all right, don't be.
Yeah, they talking about
he
they
likes
want to
women.
pick it up
He doesn't
the
like
ass with
boys.
Ryan Garcia. I can't have that. Yo, peace, y'all.
Yeah.
Salute.
All right. Thanks for calling, Rascal. Take care.
Man. Yeah, H Money. Listen, Rascal is a man. He doesn't like boys like you do. You gotta stay away from that stuff.
Yeah. All right. Wow.
These millennials, man, I'm telling you, bro. They think everybody's gay like them.
So this is gonna be an easy win for Pacquiao.
They think everybody's gay like that, man. I don't know.
Hey, it's a sign of the end days here. But anyways,
Oh, sorry. What I just said has nothing to do with BDA Bucho
absolutely not.
or the show. Go ahead.
Absolutely not. So everybody, okay. So Keith Thurman is gonna be an easy win for Pacquiao, but it's also
No.
a big win for Pacquiao. Very interesting. Very interesting. We were talking about Keith Thurman's resume is not that great, and then we were talking about Pacquiao beating De La Hoya, and so what's the biggest win for Pacquiao, De La Hoya or a potential win against Keith Thurman? Come on.
Comes down to
De La Hoya-
relevancy.
De La Hoya's a much
It comes down to what way you want to accredit the win. Faded Oscar, Keith supposedly still young. Like I'd say Oscar just on name value alone, way better. Dude's a Hall of Famer. He's in a lot of top 100 lists himself. Keith's never going to touch anybody's top 100 list unless he goes undisputed at welter. So, which he's not going to do. So you got to say Oscar, really, don't you?
Nah.
I agree.
I agree. Yeah.
I agree with that.
I would say Keith Thurman though. I'd say Keith Thurman because I don't care
I get
about
what
the
you're
rest.
saying. You're going with timing right now. Like
Exactly,
Keith
it's
Thurman
a
now
welterweight,
is-
man. It's a
you're
welterweight.
you're saying Keith Thurman now was better than the De La Hoya that fought Pacquiao back then. Correct?
Yeah, that's like giving
And then
credit to Canelo for beating Shane Mosley. I mean, we don't even put it in the conversation when we talk about Canelo. We don't say, "Oh, he beat
Right.
Shane Mosley." It's the same shit, man. Now you're gonna say, "Oh, but Pacquiao was moving up in weight and whatever." But eventually, Pacquiao settled at 147. You know what I mean? And
But like going into the De La Hoya fight versus Pacquiao, nobody ever seen Floyd, De La Hoya get his ass beat like that. Like he got beat the fuck up. I mean, it was just. And again, it's prime Pacquiao, right? That was
Yeah.
monster Pacquiao. That was in 40-year-old, still very good, but not as good. So I get what you're saying. I get it, but it's like to me, look, Keith Thurman, we're assuming he's gonna do great things, win or lose versus Pacquiao, or he's gonna, we're saying he's done good enough. Where De La Hoya, and this is to McGregor's point, De La Hoya was a Hall of Famer going into that fight. Past his prime for sure, but was
yeah,
a Hall of Famer
and
going
the,
into
and
that
the
fight.
favorite was De La Hoya. But then again, after you
He
watch
was
the
the
fight,
favorite, and Pacquiao was jumping up 2 weight divisions.
Bucho, can I get my 2 cents in?
wait, okay, before we get it with Gonzalo
Yeah,
here,
I'll wait.
Oh, they hung up. I think it was H Money trying to call in again. But anyways, go ahead, Gonzalo.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think it's a difficult fight, and I think it is a great win because I think this fight. There's no doubt that it's a better fight because Errol Spence's win over Mikey for this day and age wasn't a great win for Errol Spence, and Crawford's win over Amir Khan wasn't the greatest win either. So I think that if Manny Pacquiao beats Keith Thurman, that's a better win than the other 2 top welterweights. So I think this would be a great win, and he could probably be seen based on competition that he's the number 1 guy.
Whoa. Well, based on recent
On paper.
competition? No, wait, hold on. Based on competition, what do you mean? Like throughout his career or like recently?
Like now, if he beats Thurman, it's
Yeah,
a better win than Mikey, and it's a better win than Amir Khan, basically.
All right.
Yeah,
In a nutshell.
He's right. He's
Well,
right, man. He's right.
Let's look at the record here. I'm putting it on the screen. So, this is Manny Pacquiao. He's fighting Keith Thurman. Before that, he fought Adrian Broner. That was 6 months ago. And then
Lucas
before
Matisse.
that, Lucas Matisse. And that loss against Jeff Horn. Who else is competing with him in the welterweight division? Crawford. So Crawford defeated Amir Khan. What was this other guy's name? The guy with one leg.
Jose Benavidez.
Jose Benavides. Maybe you're right. And then Spence only has that Kell Brook win. So
And then his last two victories were what? Was it
Lamar
Ocampo
Peterson and Ocampo.
or yeah.
Let's be real. Sean Porter has got the best resume in the welterweight division apart from Manny Pacquiao. Let's be real.
It's highly possible. I mean, if you go on last victories, Sean Porter, even though it's a controversial win to some people, on last victories, he might actually have the best win right now. Like Spence's last victory was who? Was it Ocampo?
Against a welterweight, yeah, Ocampo.
Right. So Spence's last win is Ocampo. Porter's last win is Ugas. Ugas is better. Crawford's last win was against Amir Khan, who's fighting Billy Dib. Doesn't even need to be discussed. I mean, yeah. Porter's got the best win right now.
I mean, even with the Keith Thurman fight, I think I had him winning that one. You know, I think when you look at Porter's resume, I mean, it's fought some really good names.
It's legit. Yeah, it's legit.
It is legit, and he's fought Kell Brook as well. I mean, Kell Brook in his prime. Let's get that straight.
Yeah,
I mean that's the best Kell Brook we've ever seen. The one that fought Sean Porter, and he's fought them all. You know, Danny Garcia, Foreman, Broner. The list goes on, man. So for me, Sean Porter is the man that steps up. He's taking the big fights.
It's a very good. He's one of those guys that just sometimes doesn't get talked about in his proper position. I think he's. You know, there's an argument you can say he might be the best welterweight. I'm not saying he is, but
with Sean Porter, I've said it all along. For some reason, even though for me he's one of the best welterweights that Heyman's got, Heyman seems to he can't wait to feed him to the wolves.
Yeah,
that's how it seems to me. It's
and
like
Sean backfiring. It's backfiring him.
They keep throwing Sean Porter in there with these wolves to get beat up, but he keeps proving him wrong all the time. So Heyman's stuck with him, sort of thing. That's how it seems to me.
He's stuck with him by default. He's like, wait a
second. He's the sort of guy that will he'll let Sean Porter go and fight on DAZN. He'll let Sean Porter go and fight in the UK or somewhere like that. He's not like that's not going to happen with Spence anytime soon now. You know, so I've just seen it with Sean Porter. I just don't think he's. I think he's the sort of thing that he's willing to throw away, if you get what I'm saying.
Hey guys, Precise in the chat says that if Pacquiao beats Keith Thurman, he will become the #1 welterweight. Now I'm putting up the Ring Magazine welterweight rankings over here. They have the champion as vacant, Errol Spence #1, Terence Crawford #2, Keith Thurman #3. Now, can you actually have Pacquiao #1 if he beats Keith Thurman, bypassing Errol Spence and Terence Crawford? Hey, Regan, Precise, did you mean that Pacquiao becomes a champion or he becomes just a #1 welterweight? What do you guys think?
I think he becomes the #1 welterweight.
Yeah.
He goes in there, beats Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman, who has a good resume. Okay, whether you think he won or lost the fights, he was always in every fight, right? You could say he beat Danny Garcia because he's actually got an official win over him. Also, the same thing with Sean Porter. I would say if he beats Keith Thurman, he's the #1 welterweight. He probably jumps up in front of Earl Spence, who I don't know if I'm too sure he's the #1 guy. I'm not too sure on that.
Even though I think Spence beats Keith Thurman, if Keith Thurman pulls this off against Pacquiao, then he is the #1 welterweight for me. So,
good point.
You know, because
agree with that. Yeah,
the others have to prove themselves. I mean, Thurman, he'll have a win over Garcia, you know, Pacquiao. That's a couple of good names there.
So,
Porter, Sean Porter as well. So, you know, he's probably. Him, Porter, and Pacquiao are the three with the best resume, and I think if Thurman pulls this one off, I think Pacquiao's a good enough win to take him to the top until Spence and Crawford and other guys prove otherwise. Because look at their fighting. I mean, you know.
So you don't think this is a? Is this a lose? Some people say that Keith Thurman is in a lose-lose situation, but the way you're portraying it, Stu, you don't think so.
Thurman's in a lose-lose situation. Did you say?
Some people say that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, he probably is. Well,
Okay.
no, he's not. Because
Okay, so
if
I'm
he wins,
confused.
no, hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. If he wins against Pacquiao, then we've got to say he's the best in the division. So I suppose there's something to win out of it. But it's a big fight for him. It's not, he's had 2 years out. He's fighting a guy that Manny Pacquiao. You just don't know what Manny Pacquiao could get on the day. Manny Pacquiao could turn up and it all falls into place, and Keith Thurman's going to be in all sorts of bother. But then again, it could be the Pacquiao that is aged overnight even more, and Keith Thurman could have and he's not. It depends how the performance goes. Do you know what I mean? But it could be a lose for him because he's took a big gamble to fight Pacquiao.
Mm-hmm. What do you guys think? Lose situation for Keith Thurman?
No,
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think if he wins, I mean, listen, if he loses, I'm sorry, go ahead. Let me cut you off.
Just real quick, it's kind of like a passing of the torch, because he'll get that big name on his record, and everybody else wants that name. It's not just Thurman alone. I mean, all these other guys are willing to fight Pacquiao, too, to get that big payday and get the name on their resume and have it to be like a passing of the torch, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously, if the fight ends bad for him, he loses. It's a lose situation for him. But if he wins, he wins pretty big, bro. He even if he edges that out. That's a legendary fighter under his belt. Doesn't matter.
Is Pacquiao ranked number 5 or 6 at the moment with Ring Magazine?
Let me check.
I have no idea. That's a good question.
He's number 5.
To me, he's at least a top 3 guy.
He's behind Sean Porter.
I was gonna say he would become to me like the number 1 welterweight, but it's not that. I believe that Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence are not more capable in this time because of their youth, and their size. I think that they're more capable than Pacquiao because they're younger men, but until they have the big fights, they can't really say that.
Exactly, Gonzalo. Exactly, mate. And the thing is, I think with Terence Crawford, I think we could have an anti-Joshua saga on our hands where Bob waits far too long to put him in with these top guys, and he loses the peak of his career, sort of thing. And someone could catch him on a bad day, and then it all goes out the window, like the Joshua thing, where they delayed that Wilder fight, didn't they? And I've got a feeling this could happen with the Spence Crawford thing, where they delay it, and Crawford goes in there and has a bad night and gets stopped or something, and then it'll never be made, sort of thing.
Yeah,
and that's what worries me, because
possible.
I think Crawford has shown vulnerabilities to me, and I think a good strong welterweight could cause him all sorts of trouble.
Hey guys, so I think we agreed that if Pacquiao beats Keith Thurman, he becomes the number 1 welterweight, but Spence is gonna be fighting Sean Porter. So if Spence beats Sean Porter, shouldn't he become number 1?
It's a good question.
Yeah,
that's a good fight too. About. So yeah, it's tit for tat.
Something to think about.
I mean,
go ahead.
Who's the underdog in Pacquiao Thurman?
I'm gonna check that out. While I check it out, let's get Apology in here. Apology, what's up? Apologies at the gym.
Butcher. What an intro today.
Yeah.
Are you disappointed, Apology?
Yeah, kind of.
Alright. Shit, no, I don't.
Speak of the devil, and it shall appear.
She just wanted the drama and you two to fight over her. That's what women do.
Your punishment must be more severe.
all of you.
Bitches are stupid. I treat them like shit. That's how you get one to eat a dick. Never be sweet to a bitch.
Alright, welcome to the show, Apology Man. What's up?
Yes. Hello, I appreciate that, man.
Alright, what's on your mind here?
You're welcome.
Not much. The spotlight division. I'm just waiting for the big fights to happen. I mean, they're starting to happen now. So hopefully more will happen in the future.
Do you think that if Pacquiao beats Keith Thurman, that's gonna enhance his legacy, or do you don't think it's gonna have any effect?
I mean, every fight Pacquiao has at this age will enhance his legacy, unless it's like fucking like Matisse or Bruno. Apart from that, like every fight he's had, it's been against top level fighters, and it's enhanced his legacy. So if he keeps fighting, he'll be even greater than he is already. So yeah.
All right. Do you think that Keith Thurman is in a lose-lose situation?
Oh, definitely. I mean, if he wins, he beats Pacquiao that's a lot older. I mean, he'll get some credit, but like people would view it as like a kind of a win, but with an asterisk on it. And then he's basically food for Spence. And if he loses, his career's over. Like, who wants to see him again after he loses?
With that question, the thing with that question, Butcho, it depends on the performance. You know, if it's going to be a win-win or a lose-lose for him. If he goes in there, stinks the joint out, runs from Manny all night, and nicks it on the cards from a robbery, then obviously he's not going to win anything from that. But if he goes in there and puts on a good show and say ends Pacquiao's career, then cool, there's a lot to win for it because obviously Manny Pacquiao's a big name. And you know, that's going to obviously help you if you've got a stoppage win against Pacquiao. So it just depends on the performance.
Also help his confidence if he stops Pacquiao as well, because he believe in his power.
Because that's what he looks shot of at the moment. He looks shot of confidence, that's for sure.
So if Keith Thurman knocks out Manny Pacquiao in like 3 rounds, so he's not going to get any credit, right?
Yeah, he is for me. Yeah, definitely for me, of course.
I'll give him credit.
No, because
they're
going to say he was old, and he was so old that he got knocked out early, like very early.
No matter. Pacquiao's still a good win. Even at 40, he's still a good win. He is. Do you know what I mean? And how many people not Pacquiao? I know Marquez did.
Exactly.
That's not going to happen anytime.
I don't know, man.
In 3 rounds.
If he lunges in,
3 rounds.
I can see it happening, man. I can see it. If he lunges in.
It's one of them fights where I really struggle to break this one down because it could go anywhere.
Yeah, I don't think Pacquiao's going to lunge in when Thurman's stationary. He's going to be very careful. But when Thurman goes on the back foot, I think he's going to obviously dart in to be able to close the space and try to get to him. But when he's stationary, he's not going to do that.
Yeah, but Foreman can't punch on the move. So when he's on the back foot, he's just covering up. And he circles with pace behind us. So he's quite easy to get to, really. I mean, Josito Lopez was close. I think my worry is that Pacquiao's going to fly in square on, you know, trying to get in the range. But because he does, doesn't he? He lunges in. And I think if Foreman lands one of them straight rights down the pipe, it could be not for Pacquiao. So that, you know, that could happen as well.
You guys think Foreman has enough power to knock him out? Because I've never been impressed by Foreman's power, especially recently.
I think Foreman hits harder than Marquez.
I don't think so, man. Maybe because he's bigger, but I don't know.
Marquez landed that perfect punch, and he's never landed it since, and he never landed it before. It was just one of them shots that happened to be perfect timing. You know, Pacquiao, that was obviously tired himself. He lunged in, you know, got sloppy, lunged in, and got caught with a fucking tremendous shot. But I just don't see that. You know, that happened against Marquez. But with Thurman, I think Thurman hits a little bit harder than Marquez. It's whether Thurman can land that perfect shot. So we'll have to see.
And this was after boxing the guy for 4 fights, right? So
yeah, it's like anything. If you play your friend on say FIFA on the PlayStation 4 and he beats you, keeps beating you, keep playing and playing, you're going to get one eventually, aren't you? There's going to be one time that you get a win over your friend, sort of thing. And it's a bit like that with Marquez was going to pull one out. I mean, he just knew Pacquiao inside out in the end. You know, he'd shared how many rounds did they share? So of course it took him 4 fights to land that punch, by the way. So
no, he landed it multiple times, but I mean that one shot, like he lunged in, and then Marcus put on that fucking weight, man, which is kind of suspicious. So yeah, he generated enough power, but he was landing on Pacquiao in all the fights, you know what I mean? So
no, but that was a strong Marcus Bucho. with that weight because he had dropped them earlier in that fight.
Yeah, round 3.
Yeah. G Boogie asked, does Thurman hit harder than Marquez with or without PEDs? That's my point. I'm not too sure about Thurman, man.
Yeah, Foreman hits harder than Marquez. Even the people in the chat are saying it.
Yeah, that was what I was also thinking. Of course, man. Keith Thurman also has been fighting at one. He had some fights at 154. He could easily make 154. He started his career at 147. Of course, he hits harder than Marquez, man. And if he starts exchanging like he did against,
sorry,
a lot of people hit harder than Marquez. A lot of people hit harder than Marquez.
yeah, exactly, absolutely. Yeah, now we're talking as Marquez like a fucking Mike Tyson or some shit. Come on.
Joe
I got a
Sotomayor
follow-up
probably
question.
hit harder than Marquez, and Marquez still knocked him out.
Marquez didn't put a dent on Timothy Bradley. Didn't dent him.
Oh, that was bad. That was a bad style matchup, man.
This is a Timothy Bradley that got rocked, absolutely rocked to his boots by Jesse Vargas.
Yeah.
So don't tell me Marquez didn't.
Stu, I got a follow-up question then. Who's a better finisher then, Marquez or Thurman? I definitely think Marquez is a better finisher if he has you hurt.
I don't know.
Marquez?
No, I think I don't think either of them are very good finishers, to be honest with you. I mean, it's a tough one.
Yeah, compared to the two, I think Marquez.
Yeah, maybe Marquez. Maybe I don't know. I've never seen Marquez. Marquez is not the ultimate finisher himself, so that's a tough one.
The way Keith Thurman was exchanging against Sean Porter, can he kind of do that against Manny Pacquiao? As Manny Pacquiao tries to come in with that left, maybe try to catch him, because at the end of the day, man, Pacquiao, that's how you hit him. And Jeff Horn was doing it and stuff. It just because Pacquiao cuts the distance by dashing forward like that. You know what I mean? So it is possible to catch him coming in. You know, it's not out of the question.
Do you know who did Pacquiao? I've just had a mind blank. Who did Pacquiao fight in his last fight?
Broner.
But then again, Broner.
It was the Broner.
The way he throws his punches, man. He throws single shitty shots, man. Let's be honest, man. He tries to fight like Floyd, man, and he doesn't generate enough power from that position.
Yeah, Pacquiao ain't stopped no one lately. I mean,
stopped Lucas Matisse.
Oh, come on now.
That's what I'm saying.
That's just when people... No, he has...
The great Lucas Matisse.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to heart, so he's up there with Andre Durrell and people like that. So he's got no heart. He's the typical bully. He's all right when he's putting it on you. As soon as you put it on him, he folds and he curls over the ball. So Lucas Matisse got no heart. He's been hurt numerous times by bums. So that's not a great win for me. Do you know what I mean? Stopping Matisse, anyone could do that. He's rubbish.
I mean, it would have been a good win like 5 years ago or something.
No, yeah, but we're not talking 5 years ago, are we? Fucking hell.
I agree.
I mean, Lucas Matisse, he's never been that guy, has he? Really? He's never been that guy. He gets hurt and he just falls.
He still got stopped by a guy who's like 6 years older.
Yeah, but that's one stoppage. But like I said, I think that's more to Lucas Matisse. No heart, no will.
I mean, we can say the same thing. Can I say something? Say the same thing about Thurman, can't we? He has one stoppage as a world champion.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying about his powers.
Yeah, but was Matisse? Hold on.
We weren't talking about Thurman's power. We're talking about could Pacquiao stop Thurman? And I was talking about that's why I don't know if that could happen because Pacquiao hasn't been knocking out anyone lately, and that's my point.
Has Matisse even been the same? Has Matisse even been the same after that Danny Garcia fight that was all the way back in 2013?
When he got his eye socket popped out.
I mean, no, it's no. Now Keith Thurman, on the other hand, yes, he didn't look good against Jose Cesar Lopez, but this is a guy who was coming out of a 2-year layoff, something like that. But before that, he did fight top welterweights. Whether you think he won or not, that's not the point. They were close fights. I mean,
yeah.
So if we get, yeah, go ahead.
Nah, sorry, crack on, Butcher.
No, I'm just saying that if that Keith Thurman pre 2-year layoff shows up, It's gonna be a tough fight, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. It's like
Yeah.
I just don't know if Manny Pacquiao can stop him.
No.
And it's going to go to points for me. It's going to go to points, and
It might be
it's
a
whether
fucking
Pacquiao
war.
gets again. You know what I mean? It could be that as well. So it's a tough fight for me to call. It really is, because I could see it going so many different ways.
I'm predicting
Yeah,
a draw.
it is a tough fight, and I think that's why Pacquiao should get full credit. Because to me, honestly, I really don't know if Pacquiao wins. I'm a Pacquiao fan, and I think he
Yeah.
can win, but I'm not too sure. And also, just real quick, you guys think if Deontay Wilder would have beat Fury when he came off that layoff and had only taken one tune-up, that people would have gave Deontay Wilder full credit? It's kind of the same situation with
Nah.
Pacquiao.
Yeah, well, Pacquiao's
No,
been
you don't
fighting. Pacquiao's been fighting and Fury hasn't. So I think Thurman would have got a lot more credit if he wins.
What do you mean? That's the same. Thurman. I mean, Thurman. They're trying to make Thurman
but come
like
on.
he's yeah.
Keith Thurman went £400 coming off a coke habit.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so
Attempted suicide,
I mean,
driving down the hot.
Yeah, but Keith Thurman was still in half decent shape. He was walking up the Mount Everest in the pole most days, weren't he?
So yeah, so exactly my point. He should get full credit, right? Manny Pacquiao should get full credit.
Huh?
Manny Pacquiao should get full credit if he beats Thurman.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Sorry, Gazar, I thought you meant other way around.
No, because if Deontay Wilder would have knocked out, they would have given him one more second, and he would have KO'd Fury. Everybody would have been saying, "Oh, he beat the lineal champion," you know. So for the same reason, I think that Thurman is kind of like in a better situation, because I mean Pacquiao's older and Thurman's younger, and he's only had one tune-up fight coming off his layoff, but he's still a man in his prime with the belt, so he should get full credit.
You guys think Thurman's in his prime? Because he looks damn as good to me.
No, well, he's 30 years old. I mean, I don't know.
But his body has wear and tear.
Keith Thurman was never the same. It was never the same fighter after Luis Collazo. Was it Collazo that hurt with a body shot?
Yeah, I agree.
After that, he just changed his whole style of fighting, sort of thing, and he fought scared in a lot of his fights where, you know,
he's in his prime still. Sorry,
yeah,
bro.
I
think
think
he's in his prime.
So.
Yeah, he might be different mentally. That makes a lot of sense. But this happens to a lot of fighters when they finally step up. And no one expected it to be Collazo, but, you know, it's just what happens. Keith Thurman was always, he swings the same wild punches he always swung. He's still got the same punching power. He's just as fragile as he always was. Nothing changed except maybe he adjusted his tactics, but that doesn't say anything about his physicality or his prime. He's just tactically different. So it is what it is.
I can go with that. Maybe he's not as sharp as he was because, like I said, match practice sort of thing. He's not had the fights, but
maybe he was a little rusty, in his last fight. Sure,
I agree with that. Physically, his power was going to be the same. His sort of fitness as well. I just think mentally, I think something's not there with Keith Thurman. I don't think he actually believes he could win because he used to be a really confident guy. He thought he was the best, and he used to tell everyone he was the best.
Yeah,
that Keith Thurman's not there anymore. This is a guy that doubts himself, and I think that's because he's been getting hurt in a few of his fights, and you got to remember when you're used to punching people and then falling over, you sort of get in love with your own power, and then once you start punching them and they're staying there and hitting you back with bigger shots, you start to doubt yourself.
I agree with all of that, but I think that actually makes him a tougher fight for Pacquiao because Pacquiao has always had issues with guys that move a lot. If Keith Thurman were the old Keith Thurman with a lot of confidence going out on the shield trying to knock Pacquiao out, I think that's an easier fight for Pacquiao, actually. So, yeah, he's definitely changed. There's no doubt about it, but I'm not going to sit here and say that he's not as good as he used to be. You know what I'm trying to say?
Do you guys think the injuries affected him, though? All those constant injuries being in and out of the ring?
Yeah, they do.
I mean, but like everybody's got injuries. You know what I mean? Pacquiao had a shoulder surgery. Like fighters get injured all the time.
Let's be real. Yeah. He's at the peak of age-wise. You know, he's at the peak of his career. Really, he should be fitness as well. He should be strong. There's no excuses really. All it is a bit of match practice or match fitness, shall we say, and doubting himself. I think, and I think once if he could beat Pacquiao, you might see a bit of confidence from Keith Thurman, and he becomes a better fighter again. But I agree with Precise. I don't think physically he's any different.
Do you guys think he should have had one more fight before the Pacquiao fight? Because it's from Jose to Lopez to Pacquiao. That's a big jump.
No, somebody else will steal that fight from under him. Like, I don't think he had much of a choice.
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
All right.
And I think, like, I was listening to you guys talk earlier. Bucho was asking if Thurman deserves credit. Look, this is the second best fight that could be made right now in the division outside of Crawford Spence. This is whoever wins this fight, like, gets a lot of credit. Look, if Thurman were to fight, what's that, AB right now, okay, you wouldn't get a ton of credit, but it would be a good, credible win still if you were to beat him, right? He's fighting a guy that beat AB, so yeah, he deserves credit if he beats Pacquiao. It doesn't matter that Pacquiao's old. It's a 50-50 fight going in. So whoever wins deserves almost, not quite, but almost as much credit as the winner of Spence Crawford, I would say.
Yeah. McGregor was asking about the odds, and the odds are very close. Actually, Keith Thurman is a 0.25. Like, the difference is, yeah, it's a 50-50 fight, basically. Very close fight. So, yeah. I'm surprised here. Hello, guys. The phone lines are open for another 30 minutes. So if you want to call in and give us your opinion, don't be shy. All right, guys. Anything else you want to talk about regarding this fight? I think we went through everything I wrote here. What else? All right, so Precise, you think that if Pacquiao beats Thurman, he becomes a number one welterweight. But what about Spence against Sean Porter, though? The winner of that fight.
Well, I mean, on paper, Thurman beat Porter, right? Even though I had Porter winning that fight. But on paper, he beat him. So as far as like rankings go, ratings go, regardless of who you think beats who, right? But just based on what they've achieved, yeah, it's debatable. But I would say it would have to be Pacquiao Thurman, because Porter just came off that. I thought he won, but he had a questionable win over the Cuban, and I don't know. It's a tough call, but I would still give it to the winner of Thurman Pacquiao, because as of late, that's the best. That's going to be the best win. But it's debatable between Porter and Spence for sure.
All right. Now let's take a phone call. 510. 510, you're on the air.
Yeah, I'm back.
Yep. What's up, Rasclot?
Hey, hey, I wanted to say I didn't get to say my piece on whether or not Manny Pacquiao would be the greatest. Is the question from the title is, do you guys mean the greatest of all time, like just period, pound for pound?
No, that's just. Well, I don't think so. What do you think?
Well, I mean, like from what you guys were talking about earlier, right? Manny Pacquiao is definitely, in my opinion, far more better than Floyd Mayweather, regardless of what the results is when they fought each other. And eight-time world champion, 5-time lineal champion. That's a record. 8 different divisions. That's a record that will never be accomplished again in the next 100 years.
Okay.
I mean, even though there's more belts and more weight classes now, it is what it is. This is his generation. I don't think anyone is gonna top that. Yes, he's a better. He will go down. He will be remembered more than Floyd Mayweather Jr.
Oh, all right. Anything else you want to say?
That's all I want to say, because Floyd Mayweather is undefeated, it don't really mean nothing. Manny Pacquiao has a better resume, fought better fighters, and took more challenges than Floyd. That's all I want to say. I missed that part earlier. You know, that's all.
All right, perfect.
I think the Barrera, the Barrera and Morales alone gives Pacquiao all-time great status, because Barrera and Morales were, for me, two of the best, not the best, but in the top 5 for me of all time. Tremendous fighters. I loved them. Grew up watching Barrera and Morales, and I think for the Pacquiao, the fights he had with them, that alone is enough for legendary status. And then he went on to do so much more. So, yeah, I mean, you get excited about Pacquiao's resume. When you look at the names, you get excited. When you go down Floyd's, there's some good names there, but there's a lot of nothing there, really, isn't there? And I think that's why
best.
People.
Floyd's the
Go
best
on,
defensive fighter of all time. 50-0. He beat Pacquiao. What else people say? He beat.
Yeah, I mean, I think Floyd's more talented than Manny Pacquiao, because I think Manny Pacquiao's more of a fighter. You know, I think he's definitely more talented, but Manny Pacquiao put his heart and soul on the line, and Floyd didn't. And for me, that's why I'm always going to go with Pacquiao. And when you look at the names, like I said, Barrera and Morales is enough for me to put him ahead of Floyd, because I know Floyd was hovering around at super featherweight at the time. At the time, Barrera and Morales were at their best. Floyd was hovering around at super featherweight, and maybe a catchweight fight could have been made, but he never made any attempt to fight any of those guys. Prince Nassim Hamid as well was on the scene, so never made any attempt. I think he could have beat them as well, but he never made any attempt to fight them. But so for me, he'll never be ahead of Manny Pacquiao.
In the chat, Bay Area Boxing says, Bucho, it's hit and not get hit. That's something I hear all the time.
Oh God, no, not again, not this again.
All right, so everybody in the Hangouts, do you all agree that Pacquiao is ahead of Mayweather?
It's also the way he won as well against certain opponents. So, like, if you compare Cotto, the way Floyd fought him and struggled against the older Cotto, and Pacquiao just smashed him to bits. So I think it's the way he won as well.
It's not even debatable that Pacquiao's better than Floyd Mayweather. Like, the only reason why this is debated is because we're all speaking English and we're mostly based in America. That's the only reason why this is even debatable. If Pacquiao were an American, there would be no question. Look, is Gene Fullmer better all-time great than Sugar Ray Robinson? Of course not. Well, but he beat him more than he lost to him, so why not, right? Like, come on. It's not even comparable. Like, Floyd Mayweather, to compare to Pacquiao, would have had to go up to middleweight when Golovkin was primed and beaten someone like Golovkin. Then he'd be in a conversation. Other than that, there's no comparison. I'm sorry.
Interesting.
I think if Pacquiao faces the 50 opponents that Mayweather fought throughout his career, he beats them all, including Canelo at that catchweight. I mean, the size is a little different. He beats those 50 guys. I mean, Pacquiao has 70 fights.
That'll be interesting. That catchweight versus Canelo and Pacquiao for him.
But even
Pacquiao
what you guys
Castillo.
are doing is you're. Go ahead, Bucho.
No, just said Pacquiao Castillo, but go ahead.
Yeah, like what you guys are doing is you're judging Pacquiao by an unfair standard because he's so much smaller than Mayweather, right? You're saying, oh, he would have beaten. Like, the simple fact that you believe that means that he is so much better because he's so much smaller. There's no question. Like, Mayweather had good 10, 12 pounds on him in that ring. I don't care what the official numbers say or unofficial, whatever. Like.
Finish. Sorry.
Yeah, it's just a simple fact that. It's just a simple fact that Pacquiao's moved up more divisions, and that's more impressive than Mayweather. Like, just the fact that he's competing with Mayweather while Mayweather is considered one of the greatest tells you everything you need to know. He shouldn't be able to compete with Mayweather. No way, no how. It's never been done before.
It's the Margarito thing as well. I mean, everyone wanted to see Floyd v Margarito. Floyd didn't want no part of that fight. No part of it. Manny Pacquiao, a little man, comes along, just fucking rearranges his face. So, when you start breaking down the resumes, Pacquiao's winning all the time when you're comparing things. So for me, I mean, even Floyd with his good wins, like for me, a Canelo Alvarez win is a very good win. But look, he drained him. Do you know what I mean? He fought him young. I mean, the De La Hoya win's a good win, but a lot of people thought De La Hoya won that fight. So that there's certain things you can break down with Floyd, just not impressive as Pacquiao, even though there's a 0 there.
And greatness isn't just who you beat; it's also how you beat them and who you fought. You know what I mean? That's greatness. Like cherry picking your way to an undefeated record. There's nothing great about that.
Yeah, and the way Pacquiao went through the division, if you compare him to someone like Bruno cherry picked the weakest champ in each division, while Pacquiao fought the lineal champ or the best fighters he could.
Let me just give a shout out to Steven Schneider. He says, precise is right. My feelings exactly. Sorry to cut you off. Apology.
Yeah, I just also want to say, like, Floyd could have beat some of these guys. Like, you might disagree with me. I felt like he had a good chance to beat Margarito and other guys that he didn't fight at the time, but he just never wanted it.
Yeah, I think also Pacquiao's 7 losses is kind of like a mirage, because like he lost 2 when he was coming up, then 2 he got robbed, and the other 3 was like Mayweather and Morales were really close. So the only one definitive loss that he has is against freaking the knockout against the juiced up Marquez. You don't want to count the 2 earlier ones when he just begun.
Hey, I'll tell you what, we'd have no question or no debate now. If Floyd had fought Manny Pacquiao to beat up Margarito, that Manny Pacquiao, and beat him comfortably and outboxed him, Floyd Mayweather would be one of the all-time greats for me.
It never happened.
He didn't do. He fought a Pacquiao that had already been sparked out cold. So I mean, a Pacquiao that had lost to Timothy Bradley.
Floyd didn't want to fight Morales back in the day when Morales called him out.
I just said that, didn't I? About he didn't want to fight Barrera or Morales, or that.
He could have made those fights.
They were featherweight. He was super featherweight. He didn't mention any of them. Prince Nassim Hamid was there as well. No, he went up weight. He didn't want to fight anybody, mate, and that's why
he didn't want to fight Mosley. I want to refight.
Exactly.
And the worst thing about it, he could have beat these guys. Like, in my opinion, he had the talent to beat them, but he just didn't want it.
He did.
All right. So there's no debate.
Freaking, I was just going to say, to me, Pacquiao definitely has a better resume and is higher on the pound-for-pound list for all-time fighters than Mayweather. But casuals will have you thinking, well, not have you thinking, but they will mention, oh, well, Mayweather beat Pacquiao. I mean, if you want to look at it like that, because he maybe outlanded him by 1 or 2 punches, which I don't think he did when you break it down. But, that's just the way people think. The casuals.
Bro, Americans in America will still, some of them, a lot of them, still choose Pacquiao over Mayweather. Go to the Philippines and see who chooses Mayweather over Pacquiao.
Well, come on.
You know what?
That's right.
No, wait, hold on, Bucho. Like, the Filipinos aren't any more retarded, as far as being fanboys than Americans are. I mean, we just had a guy on the show saying that Wilder is the greatest fighter of all time. So I'm just putting it in context. Like, there's going to be a lot of bias in the Philippines, no doubt about it. But this is exactly what we're dealing with in the United States.
Yeah, but I remember the Pacquiao Floyd build-up, and I thought a lot of the American stars were on Pacquiao's side. It seemed like they were favouring Pacquiao, and I think Floyd got his nose put out by that a little bit. But I saw a lot of that in America. I think Pacquiao's quite big in America. I think he just lost. I think anything when you're charging pay-per-view and you start losing, and your form starts to go. You don't look as good. You're not as exciting. You're not knocking anybody out anymore. I think the viewers just go down and down and down because there's a lot of money to watch pay-per-view in America. And I don't think Pacquiao's done well to keep getting pay-per-view fights. He really has.
And for all the Mayweather nut huggers out there, Floyd himself admitted that he is not TBE. He says that this is just a marketing ploy. And when he says TBE is the best at making money, he himself stated this. He doesn't he puts on a good act and it's all fine and good. But he himself will tell you that he doesn't think he's the greatest fighter of all time.
I would disagree. Well, I don't know, man. But I've seen him on like ESPN Spanish a while back. And they asked him if he was better than Muhammad Ali as a boxer, and he said yes. And I know, and hold on. I know. Yeah, I know. But I know Muhammad Ali. He's really maybe not the best, but he's considered the best. By the people outside boxing who don't really follow the sport. And he said that. So come on, he wasn't even humble about it. So
Yeah,
I
but
think.
that's what I'm saying is that that's his character.
You
He gets
think
in character
so?
to promote himself. But after he officially retired and he was no longer in boxing, he had this interview. I forget what it was. I think it might have been after the Berto fight or something. I don't remember. They asked him, and he said, "No, guys, it's just like after he was already retired officially
Okay.
and out of boxing." He said, "That's just an act. I was the greatest at making money. It's just a nickname. It's just a marketing strategy." He said it himself
Yeah,
after it
well,
was
just
all said and done.
Are you saying he took
look at the
us?
McGregor.
Go ahead.
Look at the McGregor thing. The McGregor thing. He's good friends with McGregor. They like each other. But when it comes to the time where he had to put on a show, he put one on, didn't he? That's what he does. Like Precise said, it's an act.
Have you seen how Leonard Ellerby is all up on Pacquiao's nuts all of a sudden?
Oh yeah, but of course. I mean, they're working with fucking Pacquiao now. But
the thing is, it's one thing when if Floyd beats someone, then Floyd will always big up that fighter after that, because it makes him look better. You know what I mean? He does it with Canelo now. Yeah, Canelo's an all-time great. He bigs up Canelo all the time because it makes his win look better. So when Floyd gives anyone any credit, I wouldn't take it.
wait, hold on. So Precise. Are you saying that Floyd Mayweather never really wanted to be the best boxer out there? He just wanted to make money, and so he just basically robbed everybody,
Of
all the
course,
fans.
it was the whole. Why did he call himself Pretty Boy Floyd after the greatest bank robber in history? Like that was always the plan with Floyd Mayweather, and like this is exactly what it was always about. And he made no qualms about it. Of course, he promoted himself differently, and he sold a certain image to the casuals. But that's what he was always about, robbing the fucking bank. And that's like it was like he is genius in a way. You got to give him props for that. Like they pulled off the greatest heist in the history of boxing. He and Pacquiao.
Damn.
Got 50 million. Got 50 million to fight Robert Guerrero. I mean, he's doing something right, isn't he?
So this is one of the biggest heists ever.
Yeah.
No, yeah, and the damage that
200 million he got to fight Pacquiao. Look at that performance he put on. If that's not a robbery, I've never seen one. I've never seen a right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, 200 million, that's what he gave us.
Yeah, and the damage they left too, mainly because of Mayweather, because everybody wants to. They would only fight like these top welterweights haven't been fighting because they want money, and they think they're just gonna get they're gonna get it the easy way, you know.
Gonzalo, that's because it was promised by them by Heyman, and now they're realizing it's not so easy.
Well, yeah, because they thought that's what the impression that the Mayweather era left, that it was gonna be like that. It's taking low risk, high reward, you know.
Can I play devil's advocate here just for a little bit? Are we being too harsh on Mayweather? It sounds like we're being too hard. What do you think?
No, because this guy has done very well out of boxing, and if it wasn't for the fans, then we wouldn't be doing very well at all, would he? Let's be real. We're the ones that put well, not me, because I'm a Brit, so I don't pay. Well, I have paid for Mayweather pay-per-views, quite a few. So yeah, even in the UK, he's been paid pay-per-view. So yeah, I've put my share in. So we put a lot of money in this guy's pocket, and the least he could do is give us, well, at least 75% of what he's got, and he don't. He goes in there and gives us 45, 50%, and stinks the joint out. And look at his last proper fight he had. I mean, Andre Berto. I mean, have a fucking word with yourself. Do you know what I mean? And this is the guy that's calling himself TBE. Yet his last fight, he's fighting Robert Guerrero. Andre Berto. Look at Lennox Lewis. His last fight, out of shape, 2 weeks' notice. Vitaly Klitschko. Say no more. I mean, that's why Floyd's nowhere near them guys for me.
All right,
Yeah,
H Money still
like
in the
me
fucking
personally,
chat.
I have never said anything bad about Mayweather. He's just not an exciting fighter to me, you know. That's basically it.
Okay, but you see a lot of holes in his resume, right? A lot of asterisks.
Of course.
Okay,
but it's okay. I mean, he did have a few. He did have a lot of good wins, and he was champion for a lot of years. For how many
Yeah.
years? 19.
He
Yeah.
hurt boxing. Yeah, but a lot of young American fighters watched Floyd do it and thought they could repeat the same, where they could steal a living out of boxing. And unfortunately, boxing fans had woke up to that. I mean, Floyd was the last of the Mohicans on that one, should we say? So that was never going to happen again. And a lot of young fighters paid for it because it wasn't exciting. And when you're not exciting, people don't want to watch you. And the TVs are not going to put you on, and you go to the back of the queue and you forgot about sort of thing. And a lot of good young American fighters ruined their chance to make a good living out of boxing because they saw what Floyd did and thought that was the way to go. But a lot of them didn't have nowhere near the talent Floyd. And Floyd had already built his brand. So,
Are you saying that Floyd Mayweather had negative effects on boxing after he retired?
Oh, I'll tell you what, he sent American boxing back years.
It's true.
I'm telling you.
Oh, man.
But I have to say too, to Mayweather's credit, he didn't become a pay-per-view star, okay, until 2007. For all these younger guys in this generation, they want to get them big money fights like Errol Spence, you know, and some of the Charlos. You have to do the work, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, Floyd did the work. I mean, promoting himself and all that shit. He did. I mean, because, you know, Mayweather kept saying, "Oh, I've been a champion for 16 years or some shit." But after the Atlanta Olympics, he became a professional. So it was what, 96, 97 till 2007. Till 2007, he was just a good boxer that people talked about. But outside boxing, nobody knew who the hell he was, man.
Yeah, but Floyd's strongest, his biggest strength, shall we say, is his work ethic. When a lot of these fighters were out in the clubs, like the Charlos, with their little rucksack with their paycheck in there, do you know what I mean? Floyd, he's at the gym at 2 o'clock in the morning. He goes to nightclubs, drink orange juice. He goes back to the gym, sort of thing. You know, he'll have his fun, of course he will. But he's a very dedicated guy, kept in good shape all year round, kept hovering around, you know, the same weight, and that's what you got to give him credit for, because no matter how much he conned us, how much he got things go his way, and you know the decisions and everything else, he's still got to be half decent to pull it off. And he's definitely a good fighter, so you can't say he's not.
Yeah,
he's just
the ship. Absolutely, the Shepherd of Sons agrees with Stu. He says Floyd put in work. He also says Floyd was working. Gypsy Boxing Style says people like to copy the best. Okay, so Floyd was the best apparently. What else do we have in the chat here? Johnny Boy, yeah, I sent you the link, man. Yeah, I don't know.
There's nothing
don't
original
copy
about
Floyd,
Floyd's style.
What's that?
I just said there's nothing original about Floyd's style. Like he copied someone and someone copied him. He's just one in a line of many. I think he had all-time great potential that was never fully realized because, again, his goal was to rob the bank, not become the greatest.
Yeah. I still think to pull it off, you've still got to be half decent. Let's be real.
No,
pull
like
it off.
the
You know, because like
in his prime, he was amazing, bro. Floyd was amazing in his prime.
I remember
no doubt about it. Yeah,
he was very good.
But recognize
he bitched out.
Oh god,
bitched out basically.
But you say that Mayweather robbed the bank, but man, you also gotta give him credit for making people believe that he's actually one of the best evers. You know what I mean?
I did give him credit. I said it was genius what he did. Yeah.
Yeah, to rob the bank, but to make us believe this. Not us, but you know, like most people believe he's one of the best ever, man. How the fuck is he created an illusion?
Imagine if America wasn't so racist. Imagine how much money he would have made.
He would have made gazillion dollars.
Oh, that started hurting my head.
Yo, recognize what the hell happened to you? Did X jump you or something?
Yeah.
You know what it is? I'm by the water, and I don't know what the hell, man. It's like my service is bad.
But the thing with a lot of boxing fans is that they pretend to actually know what they're looking at, but all they do is just listen to what they're hearing, and they go by what the commentators and the analysts are telling them. Because let's be real, there's a lot of people out there that think Anthony Joshua Joshua is the best heavyweight for the last
Yeah.
40 years, sort of thing. You know, these people are actually serious. When you think they're clowning and trolling you, they're actually serious. So with the boxing community, you can't really. I mean, there's so many people that don't know what the fuck they're talking about. I mean, we could be here all day about it, so I wouldn't take it too serious.
To me, one of the most impressive things that Pacquiao did later on in his career during the Mosley fight, he didn't hit a lot, but when he took that shot or those two shots and he got buckled and was able to recover, that was kind of impressive to me.
Yeah, it's true. Oh, we have Johnny Boy. Johnny Boy, what's up?
Hey, how you doing, fellas? What's going on?
Discussing Pacquiao's legacy. If he defeats Keith Thurman, do we put him? Well, is the Keith Thurman win gonna affect Pacquiao's legacy or not? That's the question.
Well, let me just—I heard you guys talking about Floyd a few minutes ago, and let me just—I'll talk about Pacquiao in a minute. But as far as Floyd goes,
Oh boy,
like I've been saying, does he deserve credit? I don't know. It depends if you're giving credit for fucking up my sport. That's what if yeah, he deserves all the credit in the world for that. And now I'm gonna tell you something real quick. Don't nobody call because this is useful shit I'm about to say. Fucking here. Thunder don't put this perfectly back in the day. He had talent, but no heart and no fucking balls. Okay? I don't give a flying fuck how much money he made. I don't give a fuck how many people watched him. He put everybody to sleep, and he was a fucking cocksucker. Okay, now here, he was a good defensive fighter. I'll give you that. Floyd never, not once, 0 times, none whatsoever. He never fought another great fighter in their prime. Period. If you'd like to argue that with me, be my guest. But that's a fact. And here's another thing. As I just said in the chat, now we're seeing the repercussions of what this fucking cocksucker did to the sport. Nobody can get a fight made. All these big fights can't get made. Everybody's concerned about a dollar. You know, nobody wants to lose and challenge themselves. It's a fucking circle jerk. And in part, we have Floyd Mayweather to thank for that.
oh man, well said, man. Excellent. Steven Schneider, thank you for the contribution. He says Johnny Boy is based or biased. I think you meant biased. Yeah,
based.
we know Johnny Boy.
No, he means
biased.
he's based. He's
oh,
based,
what's that
yeah.
mean? What does that mean?
That's just like you're saying, you know, like he's
like he got good grounds. Like
yeah.
He's about principle. He's about principle. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point, man. And go ahead.
No, Pucho, go ahead and finish, then I'll go.
No, go. I like your rants, man.
Oh. All right. Well, and man, so here, and I'll tell you something else. If everybody's got their opinions, okay? Whether he won the Pacquiao fight, whether he won the first Maidana fight, A, B, C, and D. I wish Maidana would have bit his fucking eyeball out instead of his chest, but it is what it is. Anyhow, one I'm not going to give you is that first Castillo fight. Castillo beat him, so his undefeated his undefeated record is bullshit. And again, we're seeing the after effect of what this fucking Momo did to the sport. Like I said, does he deserve? Like I say, what credit do you want to give him for being a fucking pussy and fucking my sport up? That's the only credit you can give the cocksucker.
Yeah.
Okay, he had talent and he was real good defensively. I'll give him that.
Yeah, we have to remember as well. He totally ducked Paul Williams and Sergio Martinez. Sergio Martinez was calling this guy out 154 man for time. Floyd didn't want no part of that. That would have been a cracking fight. You know, that's another fight he didn't want. Paul Williams when he was at his best. You know, that's another one he ducked. You know, that's why you have to say how it is with Floyd. I know people get burnt. Oh, Floyd was a TBE. No, he wasn't, man. He was a very good fighter and he's a good businessman. But let's not put him in that TBE bracket. Nowhere near the top. Well, he might sneak in the top 20 if he's lucky. For me.
This is the way I look at it. I made a video a while back. I think a couple of you guys seen it. This is, it was just a rough draft kind of dig. But I made a top 10 boxers in the last 50 years. So basically since Ali or so. Even if you want to go out, and I'm not going to, like McGregor would throw all the guys from 1908 in there. I'm not going to do that. Okay? We'll just go Ali forward. Floyd's barely cracking top 20. Ali forward. Okay? Maybe top 15. Maybe.
Yeah. No. By the way, Eric Rosas, thank you for your contribution. He said, he said Johnny Boy is 100% correct. So
I fucking ain't right, I am. Thank you, bro.
I kind of wonder why
90
Pacquiao. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I kind of wonder why Mayweather never fought Timothy Bradley. Why? Because he was scared he was going to get outpointed. Because nobody was going to get knocked out in that fight.
That'll be a good fight.
That would have been a good fight, Gonzalo.
Yeah, but Bob Arum.
Bradley could have been a styles matchup for Floyd Mayweather. I'm not saying he would have. It could have been. It could have been.
I think that fight would have been
disaster.
I think that fight would have been horrible to watch. I really do.
No, I'm talking about for Floyd actually losing the fight. If you look at the kind of fighters that beat him in the past, I'm not saying he would have won, Stu. I'm with you. I would have picked Floyd, but Timothy Bradley could have been a style nightmare for him.
Yeah, but
if he doesn't hurt him, he's in a lot of trouble, bro. If he can't get his respect, he's in a lot of trouble in that fight.
Styles make fights and fighters beat counterpunchers. It is what it is. Floyd beat a lot of counterpunchers, but they were little. Timothy Bradley wasn't so small.
Yeah, that fight would never have been made with Aaron and Floyd anyway. Them two are never going to do business on that one, because at the time Bob was keeping his fighters in house quite a bit, weren't he? And kept recycling fights, didn't he?
Yeah.
Do you remember Bradley? Do you real quick, Gonzalo? Do you remember
go ahead.
Bradley? Do you remember Bradley on an interview on YouTube, one of these big channels, saying that he would love to fight Floyd, but he's not going to sell himself out?
I remember that shit.
You ever wonder to yourself what he meant by that, Johnny Boy? Like I took it as he's not going to compromise himself to give Floyd the edge.
Exactly.
That's how I
exactly.
Took it. Yeah.
Exactly, bro. He's like I'm not gonna bend over the counter and go for this motherfucker's demands. Is what he,
Right.
We're gonna do it fair and square. We're not gonna do it at all. Is what Bradley was saying.
Come to think of it, like, what fighters did Floyd actually fight at welterweight? Maidana? That were any good, actually. Like, he avoided fighters. No, that guy was a boxer. He was more of a boxer. Yeah, he fought. He fought Berto. Don't get me wrong.
Crap.
No, but he in the Berto fight, he was a fighter, a brawler, no doubt about it. But like when you really think about it, he didn't want Margarito, he didn't want Paul Williams. He didn't want to fight a guy that threw a million punches, because
that's right.
Those are the guys that overload your fucking computer. Floyd likes to sit back and think, and those guys wouldn't have given him time to do that.
And I don't care what anybody says precise. To me, I think the reason why he didn't take that fight because he thought he would lose those fights. That's the reason why.
Yeah.
Not that it was. I could beat these guys, but I'm not 100% sure, so I'm not going to fight him. No, it was like he sat down, he looked at Ace. I can't win these fights.
Yeah, Prime Pacquiao was another guy in that mold. Just throws a lot of punches, right?
Prime Co.
Cross the zoo.
Let me add something to that real quick. You know that big right hand Mosley caught him with in the beginning of their fight?
Yeah.
Let's not even forget about lightweight. Mosley would have smoked Floyd at lightweight, and I stand by that. But however,
I don't think he would have. You just got to look how Vernon Forrest dealt with Mosley.
That was at welterweight. That was at welterweight.
What weight? And a much longer guy as well.
Exactly. Yeah. But here, even if you took the Mosley that fought Fernando Vargas in like 05 or whatever, when I was like 14 or 15, that right hand that he caught Floyd with, he would have landed about 40 of them bitches, bro.
Yo, bro. Sorry, go ahead.
That Vernon Forrest fight was with Mosley was not a welterweight, was it? He shot his 140.
Was that 154?
Yeah. It was at welterweight, 147.
140.
Yeah, it was at 47 still.
147 was it? Fucking hell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
Vernon Forrest was a big guy.
That was Winky
The
Ryan.
140 Shane Mosley was a real problem. I agree with that one.
I mean, even when he went to 147 up, Stu, like when he fought Oscar De La Hoya, I was impressed by how fucking strong he was. I thought that if he brawled with De La Hoya, that might be a mistake.
Yeah.
And he did. He stood his ground. I remember going into that fight thinking to myself, I don't think he should brawl with him because. But then again, I was saying how else because I was picking De La Hoya to win that fight.
Yeah.
Going in, I was picking De La Hoya. I was like, he can't brawl with him. But then again, that's his best suit. That's how he fights. He brawls.
Yeah.
You know, he's a hot.
Yeah.
What we call hot boxer. You know, he
He
stands
just-
in the pocket and
Yeah.
fucking beats you to the punch. But when he fought at 147 against De La Hoya, who looked in great shape going into that fight, that was impressive to me.
But for some reason, Vernon Forrest just had his number. I stayed up to watch both of them fights in the UK late, and Mosley just couldn't get to grips with Vernon Forrest at all. And funny enough, because I think Vernon Forrest went on to get knocked out by Mayorga, I think it was.
Yeah,
2 times
got
as well.
beaten twice.
Yeah,
that's correct.
Twice.
Right, and so it's just funny. That's just proof our stars make fights, because I think Mosley went on to destroy Mayorga, didn't he?
Exactly.
And
He struggled, but he did knock him
But
out.
he knocked him out in the end.
And Stu, Mosley, or excuse me, Vernon Forrest also had a win over Mosley in the amateurs, so he already knew what he was getting into as well.
He just had Mosley's number for some reason.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
even in the second fight, Mosley just didn't make the adjustments needed. It just seemed that Vernon Forrest just was a step ahead all the time, and it just looks like it was just a fight that Mosley never looked like he could win if they fought 10 times, sort of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and like I said, it's regarding Pacquiao, if he were to beat Thurman, even if he don't beat Thurman, man, like, and you guys know I know my history of the old days for the most part and shit. Unless you, like I say, unless you go way, way back to fucking Jack Dempsey and shit, then you kind of lose me. But now I'm 27, so we'll just say 90s and forward. But he's the best fighter of my lifetime since I've been alive. Like, that's not even a fucking debate as far as I'm concerned. But you know, that's just me, though. You know,
That's my lifetime too for me.
Yeah,
Johnny.
I mean,
let me add something real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
But I just hope to what you're saying. I just hope that he gets fair judging on that night. I don't know who's gonna be the favorite to the judges, like as far as who's gonna, like, you know, who they're pushing for. But I just hope they get equal fucking judging. You know.
They're pushing for Pacquiao because Pacquiao's a bigger star. They're going to feed him to Spence.
Well, do we know that for sure?
Well, he signed a contract. You're not just going to just rob your the guy you just signed as you pay big money unless you're building up a big star.
Do you know what? Do you know one thing about Manny Pacquiao? I'm going to upset a few people here. I mean, I've always thought this. I mean, I might be just overthinking it, but I actually think he sold his soul to the devil, sort of thing. I think the precise earlier was saying about when you signed to fight Floyd, you're not going to sell your soul, sort of thing. I think Pacquiao actually did, because that was not a performance from a guy that looked like he wanted to win. Even when he hurt Floyd, he sort of backed off, and it just didn't look right. I mean, there was rumours that they exchanged money in an aeroplane. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but I think Manny Pacquiao is a sort of guy, and let's be real, he's a politician as well. This guy's got a bit of a dodgy reputation in the past. I think he would sell a victory for the right payment. It wouldn't surprise me anymore. Pacquiao. So you never know.
Somebody said you was. I recognize somebody said you was in Florida, bro.
Yeah, bro. I'm in Florida,
how's
baby.
the weather? How's the weather?
You know, hot. I'm in South Florida, so you know it's always hot.
Yeah, they got the big booty Cubans walking around, or what?
Well, I haven't got the chance to do that yet, man. But you know, I will. Got my
You
shades
should go
ready.
talk some. You
Got
should
my
go talk
shades.
some smack over to Keith Thurman, like the movie Benchwarmers. I think.
Hey, ponytail.
Let me just ask you guys. Let me just ask you guys one quickly because I was on that Pacquiao conspiracy. Did you guys see anything like that, or was it just me?
Okay, I'm gonna piggyback off of. I don't know if Precise remembers this video, but he was doing this series, the breakdown of how Manny Pacquiao won the fight. Right, he was debating a bunch of casuals back then, and they were going back and forth. And I thought he did an excellent film study. He showed when Pacquiao hurts Mayweather in the 4th round, the big one, right? When he catches him with that shot.
That's right.
Now, I don't remember all the way. Maybe Precise remembers, but it shows when Pacquiao stops for no reason. Stops throwing punches when he clearly has Mayweather in retreat mode.
I saw that.
Total retreat mode. And it was kind of weird. I'm not gonna lie. So, yeah. That's something that was brought to my attention, and when I watched it, it always, when I think about that fight, I always say, did he let that shit go?
He didn't. He didn't. The fact is, Manny Pacquiao is known for his work rate. His work was pretty average that night. I know Floyd was doing a lot already, but you could still get to Floyd. I mean, Madonna was getting to him and landing shots, combinations on him. So Manny can. Manny just for some reason, it looked like Manny had sold his soul, sort of thing.
And you know
it
what?
Could have been
crazy?
that. It could have been that, but it also could have been the injury because, like, he wasn't allowed to take any painkillers, and he did have an injury.
Was that a cover up for the fight he
Well,
was about to
it could
give us?
it could have been a cover up. I don't know, but I mean, the story goes that he had an injury. He had an operation, and they didn't allow him to take any painkillers for it either. So maybe he started throwing those wild punches at Mayweather, and his shoulder started hurting, and he just backed off of him too. I mean, that could be an explanation also, but it did definitely look suspect. I don't know what the reason for that was.
Do you guys think?
Go on.
Do you guys think that Floyd might have like tinkered with him before the fight, like drained his blood, like Marquez Morales did? Because Floyd wasn't being tested, and Pacquiao was. We all know the story.
Apology. Listen, bro. Floyd knew Pacquiao's arm was fucked up going into that fight.
Yeah.
He
and
knew
he tinkered.
that.
He tinkered. And to your question, apology. Of course he did. Who do you think it came from not for Pacquiao not to take any pain meds going into the fight for his shoulder?
Is that
right? Like they had a meeting. They had a meeting with an insurance company before the fight, and they were talking about postponing the fight. But because it was all said it was going to be the biggest fight in the history of boxing, they just couldn't move it. So that's when it leaked out that Pacquiao had an injury going in. There was a whole meeting trying to postpone the fight, and Floyd said no.
There's a lot of stories going around. Do you know what I mean? This could be all a cover up. I know what you're saying about the shoulder, but the shoulder was all right when he hurt Floyd with that shot. You know, you're telling me he couldn't throw a couple more, and then he just didn't do anything after that. He looked shocked that he hurt Floyd.
There were articles.
He threw a
There were
shot to
articles before the fight ever happened. No, I get what you're saying, but like if you got to look at the whole thing in context, and I'm not saying I know what the answer is, but there were articles going into the fight that Pacquiao was sparring using only his left hand, and people were like, "Oh, new strategy, blah blah blah," because people had no idea. But in hindsight, well, that's what happened. He had an injury.
And also,
Can I just say something? Gypsy Boxing Style in the chat is saying that I like how they talk about how Manny Pacquiao was not in his prime, like Floyd was. Shaking my head. So he's basically saying that we're not giving credit to Floyd because Floyd also wasn't his prime.
This is the guy that I think Dupas was getting schooled by Wilder. So yeah, let's not take him too seriously.
Who said that? Gypsy, come on, man. I love you, brother, but come on, man.
The guy that was staring at Tyson Fury's private parts. Come on.
Yeah.
Bro, check this out. Age does not mean prime. Okay? I mean, it can. It does. You know, it helps. Obviously, it helps when you're younger. But, I mean, look at Hopkins. That motherfucker was old when he fought everybody. Okay? George Foreman was old for half his second career, all right, and did very well. Now, Pacquiao had been in fucking 45 wars beforehand, bro. Like, what? Get the fuck out of here with that, bro.
Look, the thing with that is everybody knows neither guy was in their prime. We all know the fight happened at least 5 years too late. The point is this: if you're a physical fighter who relies on athleticism like Pacquiao versus a technician like Mayweather, who being out of their prime is going to get hurt more? Obviously,
Well said.
We all know who.
Also, before the fight, like, how many times was Floyd tested compared to Pacquiao? Because they 100% took away Pacquiao's like juice or
It's in
what
the
he usually
contract, bro.
uses.
Apology.
Yeah,
It's in the contract. Whatever the contract was, listen. Pacquiao went public, and everybody knows this. He said, let's re-drug test it, and let's something about whoever fails the test has to pay $5 million. So something to that effect. Mayweather was furious. Not only didn't sign that, okay, this is what these stupid idiots and that stupid dude that has a channel that claims he's unbiased. I forget his name. This is what they always forget to mention. He turned that down. And he was furious about that Pacquiao challenged him like that publicly. Okay? And they had to sit down where Mayweather wanted that whoever fails the test, in other words, you could do whatever you want, I could do whatever I want. It would be secret that nobody would find out about it.
Yeah, Floyd basically wanted to have a clause in there, from what I remember, saying, well, this is what happens after if one of us fails, this is what happens. And he wanted to dictate whatever that was going to be. And another thing, he didn't want to do Vara. He wanted to do Usada. So whatever, man. Like,
who bust nobody.
And he still got caught.
He still got caught.
Yeah. How many times was he actually tested?
Correct. No, you see, apology. Here's the thing. He gets caught taking an illegal method of this IV, right, which is used for hydration, right? What people don't understand is that he passed the physical after the weigh-in. This is a state athletic commission. They are very professional. If you were dehydrated, they would have known. Go look at Mayweather after that weigh-in. He was fucking ripped. He's shining. The boy was shining. Is it me? Was he like a shiny penny?
No, bro.
That is, dude, Johnny boy, here's the thing. There was absolutely zero signs of dehydration. In dehydration, there's always a sign that somebody's dehydrated. There's many of them.
Bro,
okay?
if you're riding in the car, eating a whole fucking pound of Ritz crackers with fucking Cheese Whiz and whipping up in fucking Taco Bell, getting quesadilla supremes and shit, bro. Like Floyd be doing, you ain't gonna look like that, dog. Come on, man. The fuck out of here. This motherfucker was at fucking Burger King getting a fucking triple whopper.
Yeah. You used to remember. People forget these things. It's like, are you purposely forgetting these things? Like, the guy used to show off on training camp eating fucking hamburgers, French fries, tacos.
Yeah, McDonald's.
Steak tacos. I mean, this guy was
still looking ripped.
Still looking ripped. And now all of a sudden, he's dehydrated. That's called I want to believe it. I need to believe it.
Well,
because if I find out this is untrue, it's gonna kill my fantasy. And that's
when he did that.
That's the only reason why I live. It's because of my fantasy.
When he did that tour in the UK after the Pacquiao fight, he admitted that he wasn't dehydrated in the Pacquiao fight. He said
See, these are things I didn't even know. Like, look, I'm not surprised he said it.
Artorias made a shit ton of videos about that. That's how I know.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, Artorias is really good at stuff like that, bro. Like look, most of this information, man, when I watched that fight, I watched that fight happen, I just remember just coming away like, God damn, these both broadcasts, HBO and Showtime, did a terrible job. Like, they're trying to sell like we just watched a masterclass boxing lesson from Mayweather, and I'm like, I didn't see this. How come I missed this fight? You know how come I missed it? I didn't see that. I
The
saw it
Zone
very.
did the same shit the other night with Andre, man.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. This is
They
what they
were
This is
do.
what's
sucking
destroying
his dick
fucking boxing.
hard.
This is what's destroying boxing. They're telling us a boring ass fucking fight is a masterpiece. Then you see all these other boxers. They try to fight like this pugilists, fucking moving around, throwing pity pats and shit like that because they think that that's a masterpiece. It's not, man.
Like nobody landed anything in that fight. Like there were maybe 5 clean shots landed all night. How is that? How is that masterclass of the sport that's called punching? Like you're
Because they
supposed
didn't
to.
get hit precise. Because they didn't get hit.
I'll
Yeah,
tell you
but
what.
boxing sport
Exactly,
is
the
hit and
defense.
don't get hit. It's not don't get hit, don't get hit, don't get hit,
Yeah,
don't
right.
get
Don't
hit,
get
don't get
hit.
hit, don't get hit, and hit once in a while. That's not
Well,
the
But,
name of the
but
sport.
precise.
I remember
Precise.
the damage that fight did. I remember the damage that fight did because I'm a Facebook. There was a lot of females talking about this fight, and they'd booked it and they'd got into this fight. I don't know. So it sold well in the UK. Do you know what I mean? They sold it quite well with the build up and that lot. And I noticed after the fight that how many females were saying, I'll never pay for boxing again. What a load of shit that was. Floyd, a few called Floyd Mayweather a pussy for running. So it just harmed. It just really harmed boxing. Do you know what I mean? And it sent boxing back a few years, and it probably ruined pay per view in America as well. So yeah,
Bro,
that fight did a
go
lot of
ahead,
harm.
Stu.
Did. No, I just said did a lot of harm. Did.
Bro, listen, Floyd's career in general ruined boxing. Not only that fight, but period. Floyd fucked the sport up to an extent.
But how come so many people were watching Floyd's fights? That's what I hear.
Dude, listen. You know what I'm gonna say. Look about that fight. This is my experience when I watched that fight with a bunch of casuals. It was a pretty big setting where it was like a lot of guys and a lot of girls, mainly casual fans. But they knew who Floyd Mayweather was, and they were trying to convince everybody how great Floyd is, and that Pacquiao's great, but he's not on Floyd's level. And all I can remember in his truest form, the reaction of most of the girls. Here's the thing: the dudes, fakers, stunt. This is what they do, and they don't realize that they probably didn't get laid that night was because they show how fake they were. The girls said, "I don't like this sport because the guy that's actually winning, or the guy that's running away from the fight, you guys think is winning." These are girls. Like, I can't respect a sport like that. I was told, and this one girl, she said just like that. I was told that the black dude was like the greatest fighter ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's terrible. What I just saw.
Yeah,
Why is
I
he
also.
running from the little? Why is he running away from that little Asian guy?
Yeah, I remember during the Mayweather era. I was talking to somebody about boxing. I was like, "Do you watch boxing?" Like, nah. I'm like, he said, "Oh yeah, I went to a sports bar to see this boxing fight. And it was boring." And I asked him, "Which fight did you go and see?" He's like, "Oh, that guy, the Mayweather." I was like, "Ah, well, there you go." You know, these people started thinking that was boxing, so they did hurt the sport, man.
Mayweather. Go ahead.
Sorry, I'm just going to quickly say this is how the media sells these fighters to us. That's why we was moaning about the Zone the other night doing it. The way HBO and others do it, it's just Sky Sports definitely cringe as hell listening to it, and it ruins your experience. But the reason they do it is because it actually brainwashes these clowns into believing it, and that's how they sell. I mean, I remember this girl. She's a boxing fan. She's not like us, but she's a boxing fan. And I remember when she told me about Adrian Broner is going to be the next big star in boxing. I told her Adrian Broner is fucking useless. At the time he was unbeaten. At the time, this is a guy that lost to Ponce de Leon to me. So I'd already seen this guy's weaknesses, but because they'd sold him as the next Mayweather, and he came in all flashy and arrogant and that's enough for these zombies to take in. They don't even have to look at the boxing skills, and that's.
I mean, we live in a society where like boys can be girls, and if they get tired of being girls, they could be boys again or something altogether different. This is just what we're dealing with right now. So don't expect boxing to be what it used to be. Sorry.
We live in a
Saying
society where
postmodernism.
girls are being told to worship mama's boys, little girls, and they wonder to themselves why they're so unhappy. It's because they're lacking a man. There is no men in their society. There's barely any. So that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a new generation of
And there has to
little
be a male
boys.
figure. I
And
was
they
talking
come
to
from,
somebody
and I'm sorry to say, they come from my generation.
Mhm.
They come from my generation. It started there. That's where it really started.
I
It
mean, look
just
at the
now it blossomed
Charlos.
today. Now you got Charlos.
I mean, all
You
the
guys are
bleed.
feminine.
Yeah, but all the bleeding hearts when Joshua got knocked out made me sick to my stomach. You know, the way they were going on is like his children just been assassinated or something. The way he was going, I thought he's just been knocked out. It was going to happen anyway. Do you know what I mean? It was just a matter of time. You were so warped in your love friendly Joshua. You couldn't really see that the man had so many flaws. I mean, take your eye off the six pack for a minute. You'll see that he's fucking full of flaws. So
Yeah.
and
I
this
really
is
believe AJ's smart enough to know he had that one coming. He took it better than his fans did.
listen, mate.
You know,
It was like
you know what, bro?
it was like a prepared speech, weren't it? That post fight.
You know what, bro? That's what kills me, especially with this new era. Not even so much back in the days, but like, the last decade, maybe decade and some change. These dudes always bringing their kids to the fight. Like, bro, you might get put in a fucking coma. You stupid dog. Like, if it was my brother or my cousin or my pops or something, I wouldn't care. But like, you bring your little ass kids to the fight, you might get your fucking teeth knocked out, bro.
You know how many times, Johnny Boy, I've seen guys bring a girl, well, a dude too, because some of these girls look like dudes, but I've seen guys bring their girlfriends to the gym and they get fucked up.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah.
They get fucked up. I mean, I know these two guys that they're young dudes. They come from my neighborhood and they spar. They spar with professional fighters even. And I went to go watch them spar. And this guy came in with his girlfriend. They didn't like him. Both of the guys that I'm talking about, they didn't like him. So one of them got the opportunity, the younger one, got the opportunity to spar him. And he kind of winked at his boy. He's like, I'm going to bust his ass. This shit is going to go live. I'm going to fuck him up. You know what I'm saying? And he beat the living like after going into the first round, he looked like he wanted, after the first round, he wanted to quit. Then the second round came. He hit him a couple of times. He said, all right, bro, you got it. You got it, man. Like, you came here to do that in front of your girl?
I know.
My God,
do you know one lineman thing? Like you're saying about taking your family to a fight to watch you get knocked out. Go and watch Amir Khan fights. His dad's ringside, no fucks given, mate. He knows his son's going to sleep, and he's just sitting there with a smile on his face. Can't wait.
Yeah, but that's your dad.
if
Though.
you
I'm
look
talking
at the
about your
father,
kids and your girl.
every time can. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just saying. I noticed his dad not a lot, right? But if Amir Khan's your son, you're not going to be sitting there with a smile on you. You're going to be pretty worried, aren't you? He must be the fucking. He must be the guy that gets the will or something, because no fucks given. And and I don't know if he's got a say in who Amir Khan fights, but he keeps putting him in there with fucking lions if he has.
Gypsy Boxing Style is saying, Stu, he says that guy crying after the AJ knockout and calling him a bum.
Still don't pay him no mind. All right, Gypsy, bye.
Bye, Gypsy.
I don't know what's happened. I really don't know what's happened to Gypsy Boxing Style. I mean, he's gone off the rails lately.
He's just contradicting us in the chat. He's saying like Floyd.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Yeah,
he's
take
joking,
care.
man.
Yeah, take care, buddy. Have a nice day.
I think he's more
he's
into
just
his
kidding,
school thing
guys.
now.
He's just kidding.
I'm messing with him, Gypsy.
Maybe he's missing Afghanistan.
Maybe he met
Oh,
someone
he was in
at
Iraq,
dart school, and the girls trying to MK Ultra him into like being the
Manchurian candidate. All right, guys.
Boxing SJW. That's what I'm gonna call it from now on.
Guys, we're gonna have to end the show now. So.
Oh, you're always ruining everything.
Yeah, I know, man, but we can't stay here forever, man.
you.
There's shit that has to happen here. So, yeah. Thank you for joining us, guys. Thank you for this great conversation. If you missed the show, guys, listen to it in a few hours when it's completely uploaded.
Android is a bum. Peace.
Oh.
Yes.
All
Later,
right,
guys.
Peace, man.
Take care, Precise. Take care, everybody who was here. Apology, Johnny Boy, recognize.
Peace.
Stu, of course. See ya, Johnny Boy. Check out Johnny Boy's channel, Johnny Boy's Boxing. He also does live shows. Check him out. The link is in the description. All right, guys. Everybody, there was a lot of people in the chat, so I'm gonna go through some names here. Loma King, Gypsy Boxing Style, Revolucion, Box, Hawker Mustang, who was McGregor Boxing was in here as well. Grievous, The Shepherd Sons, Logic, Rasclot, thank you for calling. H Money, of course, was in the chat talking shit. Bay Area Boxing. All of you guys, if I missed your name, sorry for that. Flat Earth MGTOW, of course, was in the chat. Thank you for joining us, guys. We'll see you next time. Take care.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in everyone. Totally disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it no more.
I'm disappointed in everyone.
Then let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
He's just a little fucking man.
What are you going to do about it?
You're happy because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. You're happy because you got nothing. Lobito! Got nothing.
I want to get out. I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA Boxing.